Chapter 710. The Scarlet Flame Lake was the largest lake in the dark forest. It was named the Scarlet Flame Lake because its water was boiling hot all year round. According to the information given by the Shenyuan Pavilion, the temperature of the lake water was very high. It contained rich fire and water attribute spiritual power. The water also contained a lot of minerals. Soaking here for a long time could achieve the effect of body refining. However, because there were many sacred beasts around and many of them lived in groups, humans usually did not dare to come here. Thus, even though they knew that there was such a good place here, no one dared to use it. At this time, the lake was covered by a thick fog, and the people outside couldn't see the scenery inside. Before Sima Yue and the people from the Sage Pavilion noticed this, they kept the Chongming and flew towards the shore with Bei Gong Tang and the others. We can't fly over there. The entire lake is covered by a barrier. Those who came later couldn't reach the lake, so they could only land by the lake. It was no wonder that the people who came first could only stand by the shore and did not fly to the center of the lake. Not long after Sima Yue and the rest landed, Shi Qin and his brothers arrived. Like everyone else, they were also blocked outside by the barrier. This barrier. An INE reached out to touch the barrier and said with certainty, "This is not a natural barrier, nor was it set up by a spirit beast. It was set up by a human using a formation." Array formation? Shi Qin flew into the air to take a look and said, "Indeed, there's a huge defensive array this time. I wonder who it is that can actually set up such a formation. With this, we won't be able to enter for a while." An INE said, "What's the hurry? If we can't get in, no one else can either." Feng Kai wasn't in a hurry. Since everyone couldn't enter, there wouldn't be a problem of who would enter first. On the other side, Sima Yu and Sima Yulin came to the same conclusion. The person who set up this array is very powerful. The defensive array was turned into a barrier. This is much better than an ordinary defensive array. Sima Yulin sighed, "Normal arrays can be broken, but this is a spirit array. If you want to break the array, you have to break the spirit array first." If this is really a defensive array set up by someone, doesn't that mean that this place has already been taken by someone else? Wei Ziqi said. Yes. Sima Yulin said confidently, "Furthermore, the person who set up the array is currently inside the array. However, the fog rising from the lake blocked our view. Because this formation can only be activated from inside." Inside. The auspicious beast is also inside. Doesn't that mean that person is protecting that auspicious beast? Fatty Chu cried out. When the surrounding people heard their words, their faces did not look too good. They thought that they had come early. They did not expect that someone had already obtained the auspicious beast. Roar. A painful roar came from the center of the lake. When the people on the shore heard it, their eyes became even more fiery. So what if someone else obtained it? As long as there was no contract, they still had hope. This aura is getting purer each time. This auspicious beast is evolving. A middle-aged man exclaimed excitedly. His eyes, which were originally uninterested, were now glowing. He was curious about the auspicious beast. It's evolving. I wonder what kind of bloodline it will become in the future. This barrier is used to protect him, right? I heard that the auspicious beast will be very weak when it evolves. The person inside predicted that the evolution of the auspicious beast would attract many people, so he set up this barrier. No matter what, the auspicious beast and the person can't stay inside forever. As long as they come out, we have the confidence to take it. Nalan Lan's senior brother said. Nalan Lan saw more and more people and frowned. She said worriedly, "There are more and more people. Have the reinforcements arrived? Martial uncle won't not come, right?" Junior sister, don't worry. The people behind have already entered the dark forest for a few days. They should be here soon. Ma Lin said, "Martial uncle said that he would come after finding 2 people. When the time comes, he will directly cut through the void and come here. It won't delay things. Martial uncle always has a sense of propriety when doing things." I have only seen Martial uncle a few times. Naturally, I don't know him as well as you. Nalan Lan said, "Since you say there's no problem, then it's fine." Suddenly, the space was opened and a short, dark-skinned, bald man walked out with a few beautiful women in black. One mountain sect's ancestor is here. Ma Lin saw that dark bald man and his face sank. What kind of sect is this One Mountain sect? A first-rate sect? Senior brother seems to be afraid of them? Nalan Lan had only been here for a few years. She didn't know all the losses. This One Mountain sect isn't a first-rate sect, but they are very strange. They aren't strong, but they can stand tall in the central regions. This One Mountain sect's ancestor is a weirdo. He often does some unusual things. His temper is strange. He likes beautiful women when he sees them, but hates people who are taller and more handsome than him. Ma Lin said, Master was so outstanding and elegant that he was jealous of him. The two of them even fought a few times. That's how the grudge was formed. If we let him know that we are Master's disciples, I'm afraid he will take his anger out on us. He can cut through the void and come here. His strength isn't low, right? I wonder who is stronger between him and Martial Uncle. Nalan Lon said. Naturally, Martial Uncle is stronger. However, this guy has many tricks up his sleeves. His battle strength is average, but he is still alive. Ma Lin didn't like this ugly bald man. He didn't even want to look at him. Sima Yue, who had been paying attention to the situation, took a second look at this dark bald man after hearing Ma Lin's words. She realized that he was indeed very ugly. However, the few black-clothed women behind him were very beautiful. It was just that they were all cold as ice. They looked at everyone as if they owed them millions of dollars. This was simply a combination of beauties and beasts. The dark bald man stood in midair and looked at the densely packed people on the shore. His thick lips parted. Oh, I didn't think that there would be so many people here. Beauties, let me take a look. Which powers have come? Sage Pavilion. Kong Valley. 10 great evils. The few beauties said one sentence after another. Very quickly they said the names of the tens of powers that had come here. Sima Yue followed the second beauty's gaze when she said Kong Valley. Indeed, she saw a few Kong Valley disciples. She turned her head and looked at Kong Sangyi with a questioning look. They are the disciples who followed us to take revenge. At that time they came here with us. However, I didn't like them following us, so I let them move on their own. I didn't think that these guys would sneak here. Kong Sangyi said. Sima Yue leaned over to her ear and whispered, Xiangyi, send them a message later. Tell them to leave and not get involved in the matters here. If possible, they should leave as soon as possible. Chapter 711. The following is provided for you, 711. Please enjoy. Kong Sangyi had some doubts but still nodded and said, I'll pass the message to them. Sima Yue was very satisfied with Kong Sangyi's unconditional trust. She would never cheat her, but if she doubted her, it would mean that she did not trust her. After being together for so long, if they did not reach this level, then there was no need for them to interact anymore. Kong Sangyi left after speaking. She seemed to be walking around casually, but intentionally or unintentionally she came to the Kong Valley. She was wearing a human skin mask, so the Kong Valley people did not recognize her immediately. She came to the side of a man in white and called out softly, Senior. Lu Shinqiu was talking to the Kong Valley people about one mountain sect when he suddenly heard Kong Sangyi's voice. He was shocked. Seeing that no one was paying attention to them, he signaled the disciples beside him to block the surroundings. Junior, why are you here? Lu Shinqiu asked. I came with Feng and the rest. Kong Sangyi said, We are all wearing human skin masks, so most people will not notice me. Why are you here? I came to tell you that the Kong Valley should not get involved in this matter. Try to leave as soon as possible, but don't attract too much attention. Kong Sangyi said. Lu Shinqiu was a little surprised. Junior, didn't you always say that you wanted an auspicious beast? This is such a good opportunity. Yue must have her reasons for leaving. She has always seen things accurately. She will not harm you. Kong Xiangyi said, although she hasn't told me why, I'm guessing that she knows what's inside, or that she's doing something that will affect others. She does not want you to be implicated, so she asked you to leave. Junior, you trust her that much? Lu Shinqiu was a little doubtful. Kong Sangyi nodded and said, I trust her. So find an excuse to leave later. Even if you don't leave, you have to leave this place. You can only watch from a safe place far away. But, senior brother, this is an order. Kong Sangyi's attitude was firm. Seeing her like this, LV Shinqiu sighed and said, All right then, I'll leave with my brothers. But we will not leave, we will only retreat to the back. We must ensure your safety. Up to you. Kong Sangyi said, Don't make it too obvious. All right, I'm going back. Kong Sangyi pretended to be squeezed out. She did not go back immediately. Instead, she walked around other places and listened to other people talk before she went back. As soon as she left, LV Shinqiu passed down the order to leave. More and more people squeezed over. They retreated bit by bit in the crowd. Without anyone noticing, they retreated to the back of the crowd. Kong Sangyi went back to Sima Yue and asked, Yue, why did you ask them to leave? Sima Yue felt that the aura was getting fainter and fainter. She was very worried. Seeing Kong Sangyi come back, she said, Not only they have to leave, you guys have to leave too. I'll stay here. You alone? That's too dangerous. Kong Sangyi disagreed. We didn't plan to snatch the auspicious beast, did we? Sima Yue said, I felt a familiar aura from the auspicious beast, that's why I came here. But you see, now there are more and more people coming. The scene will be very chaotic. It's better to leave. In that case you can leave with us, Kong Sangyi said. I want to confirm if it's what I think it is. Sima Yue said, don't worry, it's better for me to fish in troubled waters alone. You guys should leave while it's still early. Feng, take care of Sanyang and Xiaowu. Don't let them get hurt in the chaos. Yes. Shimin Feng replied. Yue, leave with us. Sanyang Du was worried about Sima Yue staying here alone. Sanyang, if I didn't guess wrongly, the people inside are very important to me. I can't leave. Don't worry, nothing will happen to me. Sanyang, don't you know her temperament? Let's go. Shimin Feng finished speaking and led everyone to retreat. Yue. Bei Gong Tang grabbed Sima Yue's hand. If it's really him, I will definitely keep him safe. Sima Yue said, if something happens later, you guys can't panic. Just leave this place. Okay. I'll go with you. Little Seven held Sima Yue's hand and didn't want to leave. Little Seven, I know you're very powerful, but I have something to do later. I might not be able to take care of you. Be good and leave with them. Sima Yue persuaded. I don't want to. Little Seven still didn't agree. You're not going to listen to me? Sima Yue purposely pulled a long face. What do you want to do? I can help you. I'm very powerful. Little Seven looked at Sima Yue stubbornly. Little Seven, have you forgotten our agreement? If you follow me, you have to listen to me. I'm not sure if things are what I think. If they aren't, I'll leave later. If they are, it will hinder me from doing things if there are people around me. Little Seven, you don't want me to get hurt, right? Sima Yue squatted down and coaxed her like a child. I want to be with you. Little Seven insisted. If you don't want to be with me, then I'll just stand somewhere else. She didn't want to leave. Her instincts told her that something big would happen here, and she would most likely undergo her next evolution. So she couldn't leave. She had to wait here for her destiny. Sima Yue saw that she was so insistent and guessed that there must be a reason that she didn't know. All right then. Stay by my side. If there's any danger, you have to listen to me. She wiped the tears from the corner of Little Seven's eyes. Little Seven nodded. She hugged Sima Yue's neck and kissed her forehead. Sima Yue kissed Little Seven's face before standing up. She said to Bei Gong Tang and the others, since Little Seven doesn't want to leave, then you guys can leave. Bei Gong Tang and the others nodded and turned to leave. Their original position was quickly taken over by others. Sima Yue held Little Seven's hand and came to Shi Chen's side. Although Shi Chen and the others didn't see them wearing the human skin mask, they could still recognize her from her clothes. Thank you for showing mercy. Sima Yue saw the scarlet bee on Shi Chen's shoulder and smiled. You can return it to me now. Shi Chen caught the scarlet bee and passed it to Sima Yue. Leave it with you guys. I'm too lazy to send a second one. I'm not here to talk to you guys about this. Sima Yue said. Then why are you looking for us? Feng Kai asked. I want you guys to leave. Sima Yue directly stated her purpose. I love my family's academy. Actively cooperate with the fight against obscene and pornographic information on the internet. Thank you everyone. Chapter 712. The following is provided for you, 712. Please enjoy. Shi Chen didn't have much of a reaction to Sima Yue's words, but Anie and the rest were unhappy. What do you mean? Why are you asking us to leave? Are you afraid that we'll get the auspicious beast and cure Third Bro's illness, so you won't have the capital to trade with them? Anie said angrily. Sima Yue looked at Scarlet Lake and said faintly, there's nothing you want here, so there's no point in you staying. It's for your own good that I'm asking you to leave. As for the purpose of your words, you can think whatever you want. With that, she held Little Seven's hand and left. The brothers were baffled by her behavior. Big bro, second bro, what do you think? Shi Chen asked. The people around her are gone. Feng Kai said. Didn't they wear human skin masks? Maybe they've become people we don't know. Shui Qingyang guessed. We followed them all the way here, did you see them change their clothes? Shi Chen asked. Shui Qingyang shook his head. Although they were quite far from Sima Yue, they didn't see them change their clothes, which meant that they weren't here. Since they've left, why did she stay? And she even brought a child with her. Kongren didn't understand. That's not an ordinary child. Feng Ji said, I didn't feel any spiritual energy waves from her body. But she didn't have the aura of an ordinary person. Could it be a transformed spirit beast? No, there's no aura of a spirit beast. Feng Zhi shook his head. Then should we pretend that we didn't hear what she said just now? This is third bro's hope for survival, we can't leave just because of her words. Feng Zhi said, but since she sent the people around her away, it means that something might happen here. We just have to be careful. The few of you have to be careful later, don't leave alone. Yes, big bro. Tens of meters away from them, Sima Yue held Little Seven's hand and walked to the side of the lake, stretching out her hand to touch the enchantment. Little Seven heard Feng Zhi's words and pouted. You told them with good intentions but they didn't appreciate it, they still don't want to leave. They have their own plans. We can't force them. Sima Yue said, besides they've already realized that there's danger here. They don't want to leave because they think that this is Shi Chen's hope to survive. Even if it was dangerous they had to try their best. Don't you think that their relationship is actually very precious? Is it that difficult? If it was you guys would be the same. Little Seven said. It's precisely because I'll make the same choice that I can understand their feelings. That's why I admire them even more, Sima Yue said. If I was in danger would you do this for me? Little Seven raised her head and asked. Of course. Sima Yue held her right hand and pinched her nose with her left hand. When Little Seven heard the answer she wanted, she smiled happily. In the latter half of the day more and more people came to this place. Many of them directly cut through the void and came here. They were all temporarily sent here after receiving reports from their own disciples. Sima Yue saw more and more reports. Her eyebrows furrowed more and more, and her aura became colder and colder. Not only was she getting more and more anxious but Feng Kai and the others were also getting more and more anxious. The stronger the people who came, the less chance they had. Also, a few of their former enemies came. The other party had already discovered them. It's just that their attention was now on the auspicious beast and they hadn't dealt with them yet. They were afraid that when this matter was over, they wouldn't be able to escape the fate of being hunted down. Let's leave. Shi Chen said. Third brother? Third brother? Let's go. Shi Chen turned around and left after speaking. Many people left like them. It didn't look very unusual now. Feng Kai and the others also knew that it would be very dangerous to continue staying here. The hope of the auspicious beast was too slim. It would be fine if there weren't so many big forces and clans. In the end, many forces sent people here one after another. They had no way to contend with them now. They came to the mountain in the distance. This mountain happened to be the mountain where Sima Yulin and the others were. They could see the scene clearly from here. They left early and occupied a better place. Some people left later and occupied the mountain like them to observe the situation, but it wasn't as good as their position. I told you to leave long ago. You didn't listen to her, right? Fortunately, our position here is good. Otherwise you won't be able to see a good show. Fatty Chu ridiculed. Feng Kai and the others landed on the mountain. When they saw the calm people they asked, aren't you worried about her? What's there to worry about? Yu is powerful. Fatty Chu said, it's a good thing that you guys finally understood. If you had stubbornly guarded that place, not to mention anything else, those powerhouses wouldn't have let you guys get it. Taking a step back, even if you got it later, can you hold on in the face of so many people? This scene is really unexpected. Yu said. Then you're not worried about her? Leaving her and a little doll there? Yu is powerful. We'll drag her down if we stay there. Since you're all here, if you want to stay and see the situation, then stay. Sima Yuchi said. Thank you. Feng Zhi cupped his hands towards them and waited at the side with his brothers. Roar. In this half-day, the roars of beasts from the spirit barrier became more and more frequent. It made the faces of those who stayed blossom. Judging from the roar, the auspicious beast doesn't seem to be in a good condition. Someone said. Could it be that its evolution is in danger? Someone guessed. It better not die. Otherwise, wouldn't I have come here for nothing? Sima Yu heard the discussion of the people beside her and heard the roar of endless pain. She couldn't bear it and called out Little Roar. The moment he came out, she merged with him successfully. Let's go. Sima Yu carried Little Seven and flew towards the center of the lake. When she encountered the spirit barrier shook gently and let her in. Someone actually went in? That's incredible. Isn't there a spirit barrier? How did she get in? Yeah, could it be that this spirit barrier is useless? It can't be. I'm guessing she must have some treasure on her. That's not for sure. Someone agreed. But whether it's useful or not, won't we know once we try? Yeah, let's try. Many people thought so. So for a moment, whether they were in the air or on land, they all flew towards the lake. What surprised everyone was that except for Sima Yu, many people who followed behind, regardless of their strength, were all blocked outside the spirit barrier. I love my academy. Actively cooperate with the special action to combat obscene and pornographic information on the internet. Thank you. Chapter 7:13. When Sima Yue and Little Seven entered the enchantment, an old man on the island in the middle of the lake suddenly opened his eyes and leaped away. In front of the island, there was a figure soaking in the water. Only a small head was exposed. From the outside it looks like there is a lot of fog. I didn't expect there to be nothing inside. Little Seven said. That smoke was originally produced by the array formation. It was used to block the view of the outside world. Otherwise, how could a normal mist block a person's divine sense? Sima Yue said. Oh. Little Seven nodded in understanding. Yu, why do I feel that this array formation is a little familiar? Have you seen this array before? Sima Yue was doubtful, but she was not surprised. Of course you find it familiar. An old man appeared in front of the two of them and looked at them coldly. When Little Seven heard this voice, she subconsciously jumped up and hid behind Sima Yu with a whoosh. She cried out, Yu, why are you here? She knew it. Why did this formation feel so familiar? Wasn't this the formation that had trapped her main body for so long? I also want to ask, why are you here? Why did he run out? How did old Yuan manage you? Fan Lei waited for Little Seven. He promised me. Little Seven shouted at Fan Lei. Is this Vice President Fan? Sima Yue bowed to Fan Lei. Who are you? Fan Lei looked at Sima Yue. He sensed that the two of them had come in, so he came over. He thought that if they came in with ill intentions he would deal with them first. He didn't expect to see Little Seven with her. I'm a student from the inner courtyard. My teacher is Su Jin. Sima Yue said, also, I'm Little Two's relative. Fan Lei's eyes narrowed. Are you Sima Yue? Director Fan knows me? Sima Yue was slightly surprised. Little Two said so. The vice president flicked his sleeves. Since you're here, come over. Vice President, how is Little Two now? Sima Yue asked. The situation isn't very good. Fan Lei said. Sima Yue felt that Principal Fan was colder than other principals. He didn't talk much and his voice was cold. Before they reached the center of the lake, Sima Yue saw Little Two in the shallow water with a pained expression. After not seeing him for a few years, Little Two had changed a lot. His original 7 or 8 years old appearance had turned into a teenager. His facial features had matured, but he still had some childishness. His face was a little pale and his brows were tightly furrowed. It seemed like he was enduring intense pain. Director Fan, have you been here for the past 2 years? Sima Yue asked. Yes, he has been soaking in this water for 2 years. Dean Fan had accompanied Little Two day and night for the past 2 years. Seeing his forbearance and strength, he liked him very much. When he talked about him, his tone softened a lot. Ayo! Little Two's closed eyes suddenly opened, and his black pupils turned golden. He raised his head and roared, releasing the aura of an auspicious beast without reservation. This was the aura he had sensed from the outside. It was this aura that she and Bei Gong felt was Little Two's aura, which was why they suspected he was here. They didn't expect it to really be him. Little Two's facial features became distorted from the pain. Large beads of sweat fell into the lake, splashing up little ripples. His body had changed a lot in the ripples. Sima Yue saw Little Two like this and felt distressed, saying, does he feel so uncomfortable every time he changes? Since his bloodline has already awakened, the human bloodline in his body has been nibbled away. Now his changes are based on his strength. Every time his strength increases, his appearance will change. However, because of the restrictions on his body, he still needs some time to complete the transformation. There had been news of him since 2 years ago. Didn't that mean he had endured for 2 years? The most dangerous stage has passed, and he is about to complete the transformation. The danger now is not this but the people outside. Fan Lei saw the densely packed people on the shore and felt a headache. Little Two had endured the transformation this time. His golden pupils turned back to black and he regained his clarity. Seeing Sima Yue standing on the shore, a big smile appeared on his pale face. Brother, why are you here? I came here by accident and didn't expect to meet you. Everyone was worried about you before. It's good to see you safe. Sima Yue said with a smile. Brother, wait for me to go out. I can always be with you guys. Little Two said happily. Yes, we will wait for you. Bei Gong and the rest are still waiting for us outside. You will see them when you go out. Sima Yue nodded and smiled. Okay. Ayo! Little Two's consciousness was swallowed by the changes in his body. His pupils turned golden again and his body started to change slightly. He looks like he is in pain. Little Seven saw Little Two like this and felt much worse than when she was evolving. Yes. Even though Fan Lei had seen it many times, he still couldn't bear to see him like this. He transmitted to Little Seven, "You can help him." "I can help him?" Little Seven blinked her eyes. "Just a little bit of essence will do." Fan Lei said, "I wanted to ask Old Mao to get some, but he said you were not in school. How about a little bit?" Little Seven retracted her hand and said unwillingly, "It will hurt. It's not like you haven't been in pain before." Fan Lei said, "When we go back, I will ask Old Yuan to give you something nice to eat." Little Seven was a little Yue. Seeing Sima Yue looking at her worriedly, she said unwillingly, "Okay then. Just a little bit." "A little bit will do. Go." Little Seven let go of Sima Yue's hand and walked towards the water. Sima Yue didn't know about their conversation. Seeing that Little Seven was about to go over, she grabbed her and asked, "Little Seven, what are you doing?" "I'm going over to take a look." Little Seven said. "Little Two might be in danger if you go near him. Don't go over." Sima Yue said. "It's okay." Little Seven said, "He is in pain. I will go and help him." After speaking, she continued to walk forward. At the same time, her body emitted a faint fragrance. Little Two, who was in pain, felt better after smelling this fragrance. Little Seven walked to Little Two's side and bit her finger. She put it into Little Two's mouth and said, "Don't bite me. Just suck my blood." Little Two found the source of his comfort and sucked on Little Seven's finger. The fragrance spread in the surroundings. Sima Yue thought about the time when she advanced in her sleep. When she woke up, this was the smell in her mouth. It was Little Seven who helped her. It was one thing to guess it, but it was another to see it with one's own eyes. Little Seven let Little Two drink her blood for a while before retracting her hand. When she retracted her hand, she accidentally touched Little Two's tongue. She felt itchy and glared at him. However, she didn't expect to meet a pair of bright eyes. Chapter 7:14. Little Two only recovered his clarity for a moment before he went berserk again. Little Seven returned to the shore and took out 2 of the pills that Sima Yue had made for her. "Little Seven, thank you." Sima Yue touched her head and said gratefully, "I did it for you." Little Seven said, "Otherwise I wouldn't have done it." "No matter what, thank you." Sima Yue said. Fan Lei glanced at Sima Yue. He knew what Little Seven was like back in the academy. He never thought that she would be so close to someone. There are more and more people outside. Fan Lei furrowed his brows as he looked at the people who kept coming through the void. He was worried about what would happen next. From the outside it was a thick fog, but from the inside it was very clear. Sima Yue saw that the sky and the ground were filled with people. They were completely surrounded. "Dean Fan, can you cut through the void and open a spatial passage?" Fan Lei shook his head and said, "Someone just sealed off the entire lake and the space above it. Didn't you notice that the people who came later didn't come from above the lake? Then can you break the seal?" "At least half an hour," Fan Lei said. "But I don't think the people outside will give us that much time. Although this spirit formation has isolated the people outside, it has also isolated the space here. If you want to open a spatial tunnel or use a teleportation array, you will have to undo this formation." Sima Yue said, "But once we break the formation, I'm afraid those people won't give us half an hour to break the formation." Fan Lei finally looked her in the eye. "I didn't expect you to be so familiar with formations. Aren't you Su Jin's student? Not an alchemist?" "I know a little about alchemy and formations," Sima Yue said. "To be able to enter Su Jin's eyes, it must not be a simple matter. Since you understand the characteristics of this array formation, you should also be proficient in array formations. Su Jin has taken in a good student." "Thank you for your compliment, Dean Fan," Sima Yue replied. "Old Fan, how are we going to leave?" Seven saw the people outside and asked. "I don't know either," Fan Lei said. "How could you not know?" Little Seven didn't believe him. "You've always looked dull, but you're full of ideas. Don't try to fool us." Sima Yue looked at Little Seven and then at Fan Lei. She felt that her relationship with the principals was very subtle. Fan Lei still shook his head and said, "There's really no other way this time. I didn't think that so many people would come, much less someone like the One Mountain Sect's patriarch. Moreover, there were quite a few of them at this level. They sealed the space because they were afraid that we would directly tear through the void and leave or use a temporary teleportation array." "Then what should we do?" Seven asked. I've already sent a message to Old Yuan and the others. Now we can only hope that this teleportation array can be delayed until they arrive. Fan Lei said. What if we can't? We have to drag it out even if we can't. Fan Lei said. Dean Fan, how long until Little 2 completes his evolution? It shouldn't be long. Looking at him just now, there should be 1 or 2 more times. Fan Lei said. Boom! Suddenly, a wave of spirit energy hit the barrier, letting out an earth-shattering sound. Those people are attacking the barrier. 7 roared. Maybe it's because more and more people are coming. Those people are getting anxious. Sima Yue said. Those people are starting to attack the barrier. This is troublesome. Fan Lei said. What, your barrier is so useless that it can't block those people's attacks? 7 asked. This barrier can't be broken in a short while, but they started attacking so early. I'm afraid this barrier won't be able to last until Little 2 completes his evolution. Fan Lei said. Boom, boom, waves of spirit energy hit the barrier, causing the surroundings to shake. Those people are attacking together. Sima Yue's expression changed. Fan Lei looked at the people attacking in the air and was very angry. These are all patriarch-level people. They actually joined forces to attack us. How despicable. The One Mountain Sect's patriarch doesn't look like much, but his strength is not bad. Sima Yue looked at the black baldy in the air and said. I didn't think that Jia Hongguang would also come. Fan Lei looked at the person opposite the black baldy and said. Who's Jia Hongguang? A vice pavilion master of a sage pavilion. Fan Lei said, this person's actions are ruthless. He's very different from the sage pavilion's righteous style. His words were very skillful. The sage pavilion's righteous style showed that they were not righteous in the dark. Jia Hongguang, where's your dead senior brother? The black baldy looked unhappy when he saw Jia Hongguang. The attack that was going to hit the barrier changed direction and attacked Jia Hongguang. Jia Hongguang had just arrived and had not asked about the situation here before the black baldy's attack came. However, his reaction was very fast. He quickly condensed spirit energy and dissolved the black baldy's attack. Black baldy, you're still as ugly as ever. Jia Hongguang glanced at the black baldy in disgust and landed gracefully beside Nalan Lan and the others. Master's uncles. Ma Lin and Nalan Lan bowed to Jia Hongguang. How's the situation? Jia Hongguang asked. The auspicious beast's aura is getting thicker and thicker. I think the auspicious beast is still evolving. Ma Lin said. 2 people went in before. The others wanted to go in but they were blocked outside. 2 people went in? Jia Hongguang's gaze darkened. Which sect are they from? They're not from any other sect. No one knows them. Ma Lin felt guilty when Jia Hongguang glared at him. Jia Hongguang's expression became even more gloomy. He stared at Ma Lin until he broke out in cold sweat. Nalan Lan saw Ma Lin's frightened look and stepped forward saying, Master's uncle, now is not the time to investigate who went in. The auspicious beast's aura is getting thicker and thicker. We should think of a way to go in now. If we let others beat us to it and snatch the auspicious beast, it won't be good. Jia Hongguang glanced at Nalan Lan and retracted some of the hostility on his body. You're right. We can't let those ugly people get the auspicious beast. My 2 friends, come with me to break this enchantment. The black baldy heard Jia Hongguang's words and was so angry that he stomped his feet and roared, Jia Hongguang, what are you saying? Sect Master, now is not the time to quarrel with them. The auspicious beast is more important. A cold beauty advised. You guys come with me to break this enchantment. We can't fall behind the sage pavilion. Yes, Sect Master. Jia Hongguang and the 2 people who came with him, the black baldy brought his group of beauties, and the others who stopped because of the change just now all looked at the enchantment. Chapter 7:15. Sima Yue saw that these people seemed to be planning to attack the enchantment together, and she was worried that the enchantment would not be able to withstand it. With so many people attacking at once, old fan, your array won't be able to take it, right? Little 7 said, do you want me to go out and help you send them flying? As long as you don't cause me any trouble, Fan Lei said. You stay here and look after Little Tuesday. I'll go out and buy some time. Sima Yue didn't think it would be useful for Fan Lei to go out, but Little 2 hadn't finished evolving yet. It wouldn't be good if he was interrupted at this time. She nodded and said, be careful, Principal Fan. If you can't hold on any longer, come back here. This formation can still hold on for a while. I understand. After Dean Fan finished speaking, he leaped through the enchantment and arrived outside. Just as those people were about to attack, they suddenly saw a person pass through the barrier and stop above it. Oh, the person hiding in the barrier has appeared. The condensed spiritual energy in Black Baldy's hand did not dissipate. Who are you? You actually dare to seize the auspicious beast? There are no auspicious beasts here. Leave quickly. Fan Lei put his hands behind his back and looked at the crowd. Since when did the people of the heavenly sect monopolize the auspicious beast? Since you dared to do it, then you should have the courage to admit it. Otherwise, how will the academy teach its students in the future? Jia Hongguang recognized Fan Lei and mocked him. My heavenly sect has always been open and above board. Since I said there are no auspicious beasts here, then naturally there are none. Fan Lei said, this is only a student of our academy who is recuperating here. He cannot be disturbed. Everyone please do us a favor. Tieske, just because you say there are no auspicious beasts, there are no auspicious beasts? A bearded man howled, everyone can feel the aura of this auspicious beast. Do you think everyone is a fool? Yeah. If there really isn't an auspicious beast, open this barrier and let everyone see if there really isn't one inside. If only the student you mentioned is recuperating inside, then we naturally won't disturb him, someone said. That's right. This is a good idea. Black Baldy smiled and said, you open this barrier. When we see the situation inside, we naturally won't make things difficult for the heavenly sect. Fan Lei's face was calm. Although little too used to have human blood, his blood had awakened. Recently, he had devoured all of his human blood and had become a spirit beast. If these people saw him, how could they not be tempted? Why, you don't want to? Jia Hongguang said, did we hit the nail on the head? As I said, there are no auspicious beasts here. If I open the enchantment now, what if one of you accidentally injures my student? Fan Lei said, if you want to see, wait until his injuries are completely healed. No. Jia Hongguang said, either you open it or we open it ourselves. You choose. Jia Hongguang, do you want to go against my Sky Heaven School? Fan Lei shouted. It's not that my Sage Pavilion wants to go against the heavenly sect, but that your heavenly sect wants to go against all of us. Jia Hongguang said. That's right. Someone echoed. We all felt the aura of the auspicious beast, but you said there was no auspicious beast here. For the sake of the Sky Heaven School, we gave you a chance to prove to everyone that there was no one inside. This way we would give up and not make things difficult for you. But you don't want to. What does this mean? It means that you have a guilty conscience. You don't dare to let everyone see the situation inside because it's not just a student healing like you said. Jia Hongguang continued, tell me, if this isn't you going against everyone, then what is it? Why are you talking so much nonsense with him? Just go ahead. Black Baldy shouted. Others were afraid of the Sky Heaven School, but he, Black Baldy, was not. He had previously bragged to others that he would catch an auspicious beast to take back as a gatekeeper. If he didn't bring the auspicious beast back today, where would he put his face? Everyone, since the people of the Sky Heaven School don't know how to appreciate favors, we don't have to give them face. No matter who this auspicious beast belongs to in the end, we have to open this enchantment reasonably. How about it? Okay. If this enchantment doesn't open, no one can get the auspicious beast. That's right. Let's work together to break this enchantment. Okay. Everyone present agreed. They had just attacked this enchantment for a while, but it didn't have any effect. If everyone attacked together, this enchantment would definitely not be able to withstand it. They had to break the enchantment to be able to do the following. Suddenly, a group of flying beasts flew over. Jixing, it's so lively here. Tuoba Wu Chen stood on the leading flying beast and smiled at the people around him. Well, there are a lot of people. Feng Jixing glanced over and didn't have much interest. Tuoba family and Feng family. Why are they here? Tuoba Wu Chen and Feng Jixing have been missing for many years. Why are they out now? They came back more than 2 years ago. Don't you know? I heard that they were cheated by a family. If it wasn't because that family was still resisting the devil race in the bloody passage, I'm afraid they would have been gone long ago. Someone whispered. If the Tuoba family and Feng family are involved, then isn't it even more hopeless for us? That's not necessarily true. There are more and more people from these big powers. The more likely we are to fish in troubled waters. But I heard that the Feng family and Sage Pavilion are not on good terms. I don't know if they will fight this time. Maybe they really will. That Jia Hongguang is stronger than Feng Jixing, but the people from the Feng family are not to be trifled with. Let's wait for a good show. Jia Hongguang's expression darkened when he saw Feng Jixing. In these 2 years they had interacted a lot, but even if he was stronger than him, he couldn't gain an advantage every time they fought. This array master's battle power was too strong. Sima Yue was a little excited when she saw Feng Zhixing. She hadn't seen him for a long time. But wasn't he in the middle region? Why was he here? She didn't know if he was here for Little Tuesday. The Feng family and Tuoba family were big clans in the middle region. The guards who came with them were not ordinary people. As long as she recognized them, based on their friendship, it was very possible for them not to participate in this matter. They might even help her deal with these people. But she looked at the people around her and didn't go out immediately. Zhixing, I heard that there is an auspicious beast here. Do you think we should also get involved? Tuoba Wuqian saw the people whose expressions gradually changed and smiled a little obnoxiously. Feng Zhixing looked at the people by the lake one by one. He didn't see the person he wanted to see and frowned slightly. Not interested. Take it if you like. Feng Zhixing said lightly. He didn't put the people present in his eyes. Chapter 7:16. The following is provided for you. Chapter 7:16, Chapter 7:16. Please enjoy. Tuoba Wuqian saw his cold appearance and tapped his shoulder with the folding fan in his hand. That's an auspicious beast. Are you really not interested at all? Feng Zhixing didn't even bother to look at him. He scanned the crowd again and really didn't find Sima Yue. You wanted to leave. It's just an auspicious beast. If you want it, hurry up and go back early. Okay. Tuoba Wuqian saw Fan Lei and asked, Are you Principal Fan Lei? Yes. Young master is? Fan Lei saw that Tuoba Wuqian didn't intend to make a move immediately, so he didn't shed all pretense of cordiality and responded politely. Now he could delay for as long as possible. It's really you? Tuoba Wuqian looked a little embarrassed. This trip is difficult. What's wrong? On air Sai. That kid said that if I meet Principal Fan I have to help him. But you see, it's obvious that he's going against thousands of people alone. If I help him, won't I have to go against so many people? Tuoba Wuqian let out a long sigh. It seemed that this matter was difficult and gave him a headache. And Yue is also from the academy. Logically speaking, we should also help. Feng Zhixing said. Those people had been paying attention to the situation here. When they heard that Tuoba Wuqian wanted to steal the auspicious beast, although they felt a little depressed, it was still reasonable. With them, breaking the enchantment would be more assured. But what was the situation now? They wanted to help Fan Lei? Young Master Tuoba, this heavenly sect person is trying to monopolize the auspicious beast. Are you going to be enemies with so many of us for him? Someone asked. Tuoba Wuqian waved his folding fan, and the person who spoke was beaten to the ground. At the same time, Tuoba Wuqian's body flew out and landed beside that person. Tuoba Wuqian stepped on that person's chest and scolded angrily, I can do whatever I want. How dare you threaten me? Young Master Tuoba, what are you doing? That person's fellow disciple saw his own person being beaten and scolded. Didn't you see what I did? Tuoba Wuqian turned around and glared. He dared to threaten my Tuoba family. I'm already being merciful by not taking his life. How dare you question me? Tuoba Wuqian, don't think that you can do whatever you want just because you have the Tuoba family behind you. The person under Tuoba Wuqian's feet roared. I don't think I'm invincible, but if I want to destroy you, I still have the ability. Tuoba Wuqian said, especially you. After he finished speaking, he exerted force with his foot. The man spat out a mouthful of blood and fainted. No one knew if he was dead or just fainted. Tuoba Wuqian, you've gone too far. That person's fellow disciple berated. I didn't go too far. It's just that someone offended the dignity of my Tuoba family. How can I ignore it? Tuoba Wuqian retracted his foot and looked at that person. What, you also want to try? That person was so frightened by the killing intent in Tuoba Wuqian's eyes that he broke out in a cold sweat, but he was still trying to be brave. Tuoba Wuqian, even if your Tuoba family is a big family in the middle region, there are so many people here today. Do you want to kill them all and become the enemy of the entire continent? I don't plan to do that. Even if I wanted to, my family's old man wouldn't agree. But for those who offend my Tuoba family, we won't let them go. Tuoba Wuqian wasn't stupid. This guy dragged everyone down so he wouldn't foolishly follow his words. Everyone's thoughts turned a few times. Tuoba Wuqian's meaning was obvious. They didn't want to become enemies with everyone, but if anyone dared to offend the Tuoba family, they wouldn't shrink back. Tuoba Wuqian flew back to his flying beast and said, Everyone, the Heavenly Heaven School isn't to be trifled with. Today you're forcing their vice principal. Have you thought about what will happen to the continent if you become their enemy? This auspicious beast is a spirit beast of heaven and earth. It doesn't belong to the Heavenly Heaven School. The things of heaven and earth belong to the people of the world. We're just chasing treasures. We don't want to be enemies with the heavenly heaven school. An old man opened his mouth. His turbid eyes shot out a sharp gaze. However, his words described the conflict with the Sky Heaven School as a pursuit of treasure and not as an enemy. Even the old bastard of the Tianshan sect has come out? Tuoba Wuqin seemed to have just seen the old man. I heard that your lifespan is almost up. You want to use the blood essence of the auspicious beast to increase your lifespan, right? Don't talk nonsense. The old ancestor of the Tianshan sect shouted angrily. If this auspicious beast is obtained, it will naturally be given to the younger generation of the sect to contract. How can it increase lifespan? No. Tuoba Wuqin looked at him with an expression that said, so, you won't fight with us for the auspicious beast? The auspicious beast is so rare. We naturally won't give it up. The old ancestor of the Tianshan sect said, Tuoba Wuqin, don't confuse the public here. I'm not confusing the public. Tuoba Wuqin looked innocent. I'm telling everyone openly that I'm protecting this auspicious beast. Please give me some face. The Tuoba family will be grateful in the future. The same goes for the Feng family. Shimin Feng echoed. Some people were a little hesitant. Between becoming enemies with the Tuoba family and the Feng family and the auspicious beast, they couldn't make a choice. Some people who reacted quickly immediately made a decision in their hearts. They weren't strong. Today so many people came. Even if they wanted to fight, it wouldn't be their turn. Moreover, they would become enemies with the Tuoba family and the Feng family. After today's matter, the Tuoba family and the Feng family wouldn't let it go. Thinking of this, some people immediately stood up and cupped their hands towards Tuoba Wuqin. Since young Master Tuoba said so, then we'll give you some face. We won't participate in today's matter anymore. Thank you, everyone. Tuoba Wuqin cupped his hands and smiled. Wuqin will remember everyone's friendship today. Young Master Tuoba is too polite. Let's go. That person waved his hand and the people behind him left. Their strength wasn't very strong. As more and more large forces got involved, their weak strength would only be cannon fodder. If they left now, they could still save their lives. After the first wave of people left, some other small forces or people with low strength also chose to leave. After a while, almost a third of the people left. The rest were people from the large forces in the middle and outer regions. Seeing those people leave, the rest of the people didn't have any objections. The fewer people there were, the fewer opponents there would be. Even if these people didn't pose a threat to them, leaving would save them a lot of time. Thank you, young Master Tuoba. Fan Lei cupped his hands towards Tuoba Wuqin. You're too polite. Who told my nephew to be your student? Tuoba Wuqin waved his fan and said, Principal Fan, there are still so many people left. It seems like they won't give up until they reach their goal. Tell me what's down here. A student of my inner courtyard is here to heal. Fan Lei said. Since it's like this, why haven't you dispersed? Tuoba Wuqin asked. Tuoba Wuqin, Feng Zhixing, you came back and didn't stay in your family to cultivate. Why did you come here to make a fool of yourself? Actively cooperate with the special action to combat obscene and pornographic information on the internet. Book friends, please report. Thank you, everyone. Chapter 717. When Tuoba Wuqin heard this familiar sarcasm, he lifted his chin and said, I said that the Sage Pavilion would get involved no matter where they go. How was it? I wasn't wrong, was I? It's everywhere. Feng Zhixing narrowed his eyes, and a murderous aura seeped out. Tuoba Wuqin, others may be afraid of your Tuoba clan, but my Sage Pavilion is not. Jia Hongguang said, Today's auspicious beast, my Sage Pavilion will definitely take it. Then kill them all. Feng Zhixing glanced at the people from the Sage Pavilion. Teacher Feng? Nalan Lan was stunned when she saw Feng Zhixing. Her heart was filled with hatred. Wasn't it because of him that she had been expelled from Imperial College? Who would have thought that he was actually from this continent? No wonder he was so strong back then. Junior sister, do you know him? Ma Lin asked. I do. When I was in the continent below you, he was a teacher in our academy. He suddenly appeared and disappeared. So he's from this continent. Nalan Lan glared at Feng Zhixing. She guessed that since he was here, Sima Yue must have come as well. Tuoba Wuqin didn't hear Nalan Lan's words, but he saw her hateful eyes. He teased, Is this the saintess of the branch? Zhixing, why is she looking at you like that? She looks so sad. Could it be that you have abandoned her before? Feng Zhixing glanced at Nalan Lan and felt that she was somewhat familiar. However, she was wearing a veil and only her eyes were exposed. He couldn't recall who she was. I don't know him, he said coldly. I say, are you guys planning to keep chatting here? If you want to chat, then move further away. Don't block our way. Black Baldy roared impatiently. Chat my ass, I'm not in the mood to chat with you. I said that I will protect this auspicious beast today. If you don't want to go against my Tuoba family, then scram. Tuoba Wuchen shouted back at Black Baldy. Tuoba Wuchen, do you really think that you can go against so many of us? The ancestor of the Tianshan school shouted. Just the few of us are enough to deal with you. Do you dare? Aren't you afraid that my family's old man will flip out? Tuoba Wuchen asked shamelessly. Ff, Sima Yue laughed out loud. Tuoba Wuchen's behavior reminded her of the people on Earth who competed with their fathers. Roar. Little Tu suddenly roared. Yoyue's heart tightened as she looked up at the sky to observe the situation. She turned around and saw that Little Tu's entire body had ruptured. His body constantly emitted cracking sounds, and his blood quickly dyed the surrounding blood red. He should be undergoing the final evolution. Little Seven said, remember to stop it at this time, if not he won't be able to evolve anymore and will forever be a cripple. In serious cases he might even lose his life. Sima Yu took out a pill and flicked it. The pill immediately landed in Little Tu's mouth and melted in his mouth. Yu, look. Little Seven pointed to the sky and said anxiously. Sima Yue looked over and saw that those people had become excited because they felt Little Tu's aura. Tuoba Wuchen's deterrence was no longer effective on them. Their desire for the auspicious beast made them crazy. At this moment, many people started attacking the barrier again. If they continue like this, the barrier won't last much longer. Little Tu is at a critical moment, I have to go out and take a look. Little Seven, you stay here and look after Little Tu's day, okay. Little Seven nodded, but she didn't say that she wanted to go out with her. Sima Yue called out Honor Rock and the elders of the Egret clan saying, you guys come with me. This barrier could be left but not entered. When she came in it was because she had fused with Little Roar. Now that Honor Rock and the others went out, they couldn't come in by themselves. As the barrier weakened, the fog inside also became thinner. They could already vaguely see the situation inside. Fanlei, let's see how long your barrier can last. A large man attacked the barrier and laughed loudly. Sima Yu happened to come out of the spirit barrier with her men and attacked the person who was laughing. That person was only a divine emperor. After being attacked by Sima Yue, he didn't have time to react and was sent flying. This is my heavenly sect's territory. Whoever dares to attack this barrier will be killed by the elders. Sima Yue ordered coldly. Yes, young master. The elders were all experienced people. When they stood on the lake, those people immediately didn't dare to move. Feng Zhixing saw Yue standing in the air against the wind and smiled for the first time since coming here. Although she changed her appearance, the people behind her didn't. The elders of the Egret clan had always followed her and would only listen to her. Who are you? When those people saw so many transformed beasts suddenly appear, everyone's movement stopped. I am a student of the heavenly sect. Sima Yue said, Principal Fan has already told you that there are no auspicious beasts below. You should quickly leave. A student of the heavenly sect? When did the heavenly sect have such a powerful student? You? Tuoba Wuchen also recognized Sima Yue. At the Bloody Passage, he also knew that Sima Yue had brought the Egret clan people there. Thank you, young Master Tuoba, for being willing to help us in our hour of need. Sima Yue interrupted him and said with a salute. Tuoba Wuchen's eyes turned twice and understood what she meant. This girl didn't intend to let him reveal her identity. Well said, well said. I can't stand those people with their tails up in the sky. Tuoba Wuchen intentionally or unintentionally glanced at Jia Hongguang and the others. Suddenly, someone pointed to the lake and shouted, There really is a person inside. It really is a person. Sima Yue and Fan Lei looked over and saw that Little Tu was crazily absorbing spiritual power. The surrounding spiritual power was all gathered over, and even the spiritual power of the array was sucked over. The array couldn't get enough spiritual power to support it and became shaky. The originally concealing fog disappeared and the people outside could clearly see the situation inside. There is really only one person. How is that possible? Where did the auspicious beast aura come from? The bald black man saw Little Tu and exclaimed. The others were also very surprised. This was clearly the aura of an auspicious beast. How did it become a person? I already said that this is a student of my inner courtyard healing here. Fan Lei said. Oh. Tianshan Mountain's old ancestor shouted. That is a child with a bloodline. He is activating the auspicious beast bloodline. No, he has completely activated his bloodline and is now undergoing a complete evolution. If the evolution is successful, he will be a complete auspicious beast. He is a humanoid auspicious beast from the beginning. This is better than an ordinary auspicious beast. A person who came with Jia Hongguang said. So Hongguang, you have profited. Another person laughed. My luck is really good. Jia Hongguang's gloomy face finally had a trace of a smile. I think you are really lucky. Sima Yue coldly snorted. Chapter 7:18. Sima Yue's cold aura was so strong that Jia Hongguang could not ignore it. Moreover, the group of old fellows behind her all had extraordinary auras. Although they had more people, they were still lacking in comparison. But even if it was difficult, it could not stop his determination to obtain this auspicious beast. Elder Bai, help me guard this place. Kill whoever dares to get close to Little Two. Sima Yue said coldly. Yes, young master. The White Clan elders nodded and flew above Little Tuesday. They stood in various positions and surrounded Little Tuesday. No one was allowed to touch Little Tuesday. Hongguang, this auspicious beast's bloodline has been completely stimulated. Now it is only undergoing the evolution of its body. If we can contract it now, we don't even need a beast tamer to tame it. One of Jia Hongguang's friends said, if we wait until he fully recovers before we act, I'm afraid it will be troublesome to form a contract with him. Patriarch, if you want to obtain his essence blood, it's best to act now. It'll be much harder for us to kill him once his body completes its evolution. Someone beside Patriarch Tianshan said. Yes, we don't want to form a contract. This is the best time to act. The old ancestor of Tianshan Mountain nodded and gestured to the people beside him. Everyone, we must get this auspicious beast. The people around the Tianshan sect's old ancestor roared. The people of the Tianshan sect immediately attacked Little Tuesday. Everyone, let's go together. There aren't many of them. As long as we can stall them, we can get the auspicious beast. Everyone, let's go. We can't let others get the auspicious beast first. Seeing the people of the Tianshan sect taking action, the others couldn't help but attack. The Patriarch of Heavenly Mountain, the patriarchs of the other sects, and a few old fellows tangled with the Patriarch of Egret clan. They fought and flew into the sky. Little Two gradually lost his protector. You guys go down and protect him. Tuoba Wuqin said to the people around him. Yes, young master. The members of the Tuoba family all jumped off their flying beasts and started fighting with those people. You guys go too. Protect that person and that young master well. After Feng Zhixing finished speaking, he flew to Sima Yue's side and struck down the person behind her with his palm. The Feng clan and Tuoba clan didn't have a lot of people. Facing nearly 1,000 people and their contracted beasts was still a bit strenuous. Brr. Little Two's aura became thicker and thicker, and his roar attracted the attention of many people. In order to get Little Two first, they bypassed the Feng and Tuoba families and went straight for Little Tuesday. The boundary formation fell apart under the lack of spirit power and the aftermath of the various spirit techniques. Without the boundary, those people were about to reach Little Tuesday. F***CK, do you think I'm invisible? Little Seven roared and flew above Little Tuesday. She swung her fists at the people who were flying over. She sent one of them flying with each punch. She sent all the people who came over flying. Huahua, you're allowed to eat meat today. Sima Yue waved her hand and threw the Huahua out. The Huahua landed on the lakeside and grew at lightning speed. Before anyone could react, it had occupied the entire lakeside. Receiving Yoyue's amnesty, the Huahua was very happy. Flowers as tall as a person floated on the lake and in the air. Looking at it, the entire lake was full of man-eating flowers. The flowers wrapped around Little Two, and anyone who came close was eaten by it. The situation of the two sides suddenly reversed. Man-eating flower king. Someone recognized the Huahua and exclaimed, Waha, there are so many people today. I can eat a lot. The Huahua's flowers swayed in the air proudly. Retreat, don't be wrapped by the flowers. Someone shouted. But it was too late. Dozens of people with low power were eaten by the Huahua's flowers. Only those with high power relied on their speed to escape by luck. Even the battle between the ancestors and the elders of the Egret clan stopped temporarily and confronted each other in the air. Hongguang, this is the man-eating flower king. One of Jia Hongguang's friends frowned and looked at the flowers with fear. Man-eating flower king? The continent hasn't seen a man-eating flower for a long time, let alone a man-eating flower king. Jia Hongguang said. Is this man-eating flower very powerful? Ma Lin and the others didn't know much about this plant-type spirit beast. As long as the main root of this man-eating flower king doesn't die, it can keep blooming. Each flower has the same power. It can be said that the man-eating flower king can fight 1,000 enemies. Jia Hongguang said. So powerful? Ma Lin exclaimed. The others who knew about the man-eating flower king were also shocked. Jia Hongguang quietly took out a jade slip and crushed it. Some others did the same. Waha, why don't you come over? The Huahua shouted at the people who kept retreating. Its voice was as smug as it could be. Sima Yue flew and landed on a flower, the branches swaying gently. The elders of the Egret clan also landed on the flowers behind her, standing with her as the center. She looked at everyone with her hands behind her back. She didn't say anything, but it gave people the feeling of standing at the top of the world looking down on everyone. Fan Lei saw Huahua as well as the elders behind her, and the way they looked at her changed. Others didn't know, but he knew. These elders came out of the enchantment, and these people didn't exist before he came out. So where did these people come from? He already had some guesses in his heart. Tuoba Wuchen looked at Sima Yue, rubbed his eyes in disbelief, and elbowed Feng Zhixing beside him, saying, Zhixing, is this really her? Feng Zhixing and he knew each other since they were young, so he naturally understood what he meant. However, he didn't say anything but looked at Sima Yue with a smile. She had grown very quickly in the past few years. Now, she was completely different from the girl who had just started cultivating. Although she grew very quickly, he still hoped that she could grow faster because there were still many things waiting for her to do. Nalan Lan looked at Sima Yue, and suddenly thought of that person in the Yilan continent. They were clearly two different people with different temperaments, and the difference in strength was too great, so why did she think of her? Sima Yue looked at the few elders. These people were the top existences of the sect, and their strength was not much worse than her own elders. They were the same as the elders in the sky, and came to participate in today's matter because their lives were coming to an end. I didn't expect that the extinct man-eating flower king on the continent would be obtained by you. The Tianshan Mountain elder said, although it's very powerful, it's just that your level is not high enough. You can deal with those people, but to deal with us, I'm afraid you don't have the ability. I know this can't hurt you, but don't forget, my elders are enough to deal with you. Sima Yue said, you're tied down, can you still deal with my man-eating flower king? Chapter 719. Remember, Sogu, in 1 second. You can read it anytime. Mobile users, please visit. The Heavenly Mountain Patriarch almost spat out a mouthful of blood. However, what she said was also the truth. So many of these old fellows who had not come out for many years had come out this time. She did not know which clan's elders were from, but they had tied down the group of old ancestors so tightly that they could not do anything about it. Sima Yue looked at the crowd and did not intend to continue fighting. Now that the formation was interrupted and the barrier was gone, Little Two was exposed outside. If he was accidentally injured, he would regret it to death. However, the other party didn't seem to have any intention of attacking immediately. It was as if they were waiting for something. The two sides were in a stalemate. Fan Lei had noticed Jia Hongguang's small movements before and knew that he was delaying to wait for reinforcements. However, he had no way to stop him. Little Two still needed time. Now, he only hoped that when the other party's backup arrived, Old Yuan and the others would also be able to bring their men over. Time passed quickly in the stalemate between the two sides. Little Two's situation became more and more stable. His breath was involuntarily released and slowly restrained until it could no longer be felt. Little Two stood up from the water and put on his clothes under the cover of the flowers. Then he jumped onto a flower and roared. His aura was completely released, and everyone could faintly feel the pressure of a supreme being. At the same time, in a certain forest, several golden eyes opened at the same time, their eyes flashing with joy. The few of them came out of their cave residences and flew into the air. You guys felt it too? Yes, indeed. Let's go take a look. Yes, I have to confirm it. Little Two retracted his aura and jumped to Sima Yue's side. He shouted happily, Big brother? Sima Yue looked at Little Two, who was already in his 20s, and suddenly felt as if her own child had just grown up. She reached out to stroke his head and smiled. You've grown up. You're even taller than me. That's also my brothers and sisters' little pictures. Although Little Two's body had grown up, his smile was still the same as before, and his dependence on her was the same as before. Far away on the mountain, Bei Gong Tang and the others were also extremely emotional. Seeing Little Two grow up after suffering so much, they all felt their hearts ache. I knew that Little Two was in danger, but I didn't expect him to experience 2 years of pain. It's a good thing that he's fine now. Fatty Chu lamented. He has recovered, but his current situation is not optimistic. Sima Yulin said as he looked at a certain spot in the sky. What is it? Sima Yuming asked. There's movement in that space. Someone should be coming. Sima Yulin's perception of space was very sensitive. It was just a small fluctuation, but he could feel it. Little Tu then bowed to Fan Lei and said gratefully, "Thank you, Dean Fan, for taking care of me these past 2 years. It's good that you've recovered." Fan Lei smiled. "Let's leave this place first. Before the other party's reinforcements arrived, it was better to leave quickly. Do you think you can still leave?" Jia Hongguang sneered. "Martial uncle, our master and the others here?" Ma Lin asked excitedly. "It should be soon." Jia Hongguang said, "Go and stop them. No matter what, don't let them leave. Once they leave today, it will be difficult to catch this auspicious beast later." "Yes, martial uncle." The people of the Sage Pavilion knew that their pavilion master was coming. They were not afraid of the man-eating flower and surrounded them in the air. The others also contacted the people behind them. Before they arrived, they did not dare to let Little Tu and the others leave. A group of bandits stood on the same front again. They called for reinforcements. "This is to delay time. We have to kill our way out immediately," Fan Lei said as he immediately attacked Jia Hongguang. The two immediately fought. Sima Yu also guessed that Jia Hongguang and the others wanted to delay time. At the same time as Fan Lei's order, the Huahua controlled the flower branches to bite those people. Those with low strength could not escape its speed and were swallowed by it. Little Tu's strength increased sharply. From the strength that had not yet reached the divine rank, he became an expert comparable to a high-level monarch rank. He fought with an expert who came with Jia Hongguang. Feng Zhixing and the others also joined in. The battle broke out. "Hongguang, we can't hold on anymore. We can only summon the Bird Clan for help," a friend of Jia Hongguang said. "Then brother, please summon them. When we return, the Sage Pavilion will reward you greatly," Jia Hongguang said. This was what the other party had been waiting for. With his guarantee, that person shouted loudly and called out his contracted beast, saying, "I know you want to help me, but if I die, you will die too. I don't ask you to do it, but please summon the nearby Bird Clan to help. You don't want me to die, right?" That person summoned a phoenix, and it was a very strong one. It was unknown what method he used to contract it. That phoenix had a cold aura. It looked at its master with a murderous aura. He glanced at the chaotic battlefield and the injuries on its master's body. He released his aura. Very quickly, a cry came from not far away. It was considered a response. Sima Yu had noticed the phoenix the moment it appeared. She could also feel that it was not an ordinary oppressive force. This should be a Swanee. It's a strong one. There is no obedience in its eyes. It must have been accidentally contracted by someone," Little Rock said to Sima Yu in the Spirit Pagoda. Phoenixes were the bird clan whose bloodline was closest to the vermilion bird. It was divided into Swanee, Qinghuan, Golden Phoenix, Blue Phoenix, etc. The Swanee had a higher status in the Phoenix clan. It was also known as the Phoenix Emperor. Their clan was much smaller than the other clans, but their overall strength was much stronger. It was obvious that their battle strength was high. And it was said that this Swanee was very arrogant. It would definitely not recognize anyone as its master. It was unknown how this person managed to contract it. "Do you know what he was doing just now?" Sima Yu asked. "The Swanee has a very high status. It can summon the nearby bird clan. I think he was summoning those people," Little Rock guessed. Sima Yu could not help but laugh. This guy actually wanted to use the bird clan here to deal with them. She wondered what his expression would be when he knew the result. "You let Little Rock go out later. I'm really curious what their expressions will be when they see him." Little Dream giggled. Sima Yu replied. She was also curious as to what kind of expressions the people from the Sage Pavilion would have. Very quickly, a flock of birds flew towards the center. Sima Yu was happy when she saw them. These guys were flamingos. The leader's strength was not very high. It should not be their king. When the flamingos arrived, they did not immediately join in the battle. Instead, they came in front of Lu Tian and bowed. "Master, I wonder what instructions you have for summoning us?" Lu Tian looked at Sima Yu and said, "Kill her. Remember, Sogu, in 1 second. Read it at any time." Sogu's first release, Crazy Wife, Godly Doctor 5th Young Miss latest chapter. This chapter is chapter 719. If you feel that this chapter is not bad, please do not forget to recommend it to your friends in the QQ group and Weibo. Chapter 720. From Lu Tian's point of view, he was called out because Jia Hongguang and the rest could not deal with the man-eating flower king. Sima Yue was the man-eating flower king's contracted master. As long as she was dealt with, the other problems would be solved. When Sima Yue saw Lu Tian's imposing manner, she was filled with regret. Little Rock was the king of the rocks. The two of them had never ordered these birds around like this before. Although Fiery Bird was far away from the epicenter of the battle, they still knew what was happening. Upon receiving Lu Tian's order, the leader ordered his subordinates to take action. The flamingos were not as large as other birds, but each of them was still 1 to 2 meters long. They attacked together, almost blocking the space around Sima Yue. Sima Yulin and the others who were watching the battle from afar didn't react. Third Aunt Du and Little Wu were shocked. When they were about to help, they were pulled back by Bei Gong Tang. Third Aunt, don't worry. You will be fine. Bei Gong Tang consoled. So many flamingos besieged her alone, how could she be fine? Third Aunt Du said anxiously. You believe her. Look, even Brother Feng didn't go. Bei Gong Tang said. Third Aunt Du followed Bei Gong Tang's line of sight and glanced at Shimin Feng. Although he was a little worried, he didn't do anything. Sen Yang, she'll be fine. Kong Sengyi said. Not far away, the 10 villains wanted to help Sima Yue, but when they saw how calm they were, they did not do anything. The other people who had retreated saw that Sima Yue did not recall the other flowers of the man-eating flower king to protect herself and scolded her in their hearts for being stupid. However, in the next second, they could not scold her because when all the flamingos approached her, not only did they not hurt her, but they all fell to the ground and kept trembling. This is the pressure of the golden-winged rock. The king of rocks? Why is he here? Look, it's really the golden-winged rock. Where did this person come from? He has the man-eating flower king, a plant-type contract beast that is almost extinct. Now he has the rock king. Luckily we backed out just now. This is the best decision we've made in all these years. Little Rock flew a circle around Sima Yue before turning into human form and landing beside her. He looked at the people who were prostrating themselves on the ground because of his aura and shouted coldly, "You have guts, daring to act against this king's contracted master." King's contractor? The flamingo crawling on the ground was horrified. How could this person be the king's contractor? If they had known earlier, they wouldn't have dared to make a move. Little Rock released his own pressure, and those flamingos couldn't even breathe. Even Lu Tian, who had already been contracted, could not resist and lowered his noble head. King, please quell your anger. We did not know that he was King's contracted master. King, please quell your anger. Fiery Bird's leader was slightly stronger and could still speak. Little Rock, don't kill them. Sima Yue said, they were just following orders. After saying this, she glanced at Lu Tian and his contractor. Little Rock retracted his aura, and those flamingos could breathe again. It was as if they had just walked one round from the edge of death. They didn't even dare to breathe loudly, afraid that if they made Little Rock unhappy he would kill them. Jia Hongguang and the rest were stunned. They originally thought that with the help of the flamingos, they would be able to quickly take down the other party. Who would have thought that Sima Yue was actually the king of the rocks contractor? Now that the flamingos were here, wouldn't they become their helpers? Indeed, after Little Rock retracted his aura, he was still angry and coldly said, "You attacked my contractor, I will not pursue this matter. Now kill those people for me. Those who dared to attack my contractor, don't let a single one of them go." Yes, king. The flamingos all stood up. This time they turned around and attacked the other party. Their helpers had become their enemies. Yue's side was originally stronger, but with the addition of the flamingos, those people were quickly taken down. Lu Fei saw that his contractor was beaten until he was on the verge of death, but he remained in his original position without any intention of helping. Seeing Sima Yue in front of him, he didn't have any other expression. Sima Yue stood on the man-eating flower and looked down at Lu Fei. This person had said that he wanted to kill her the moment he appeared. He looked at her calmly without any killing intent or fear, as if she was an outsider. "Tell me, if I kill him, what will you do?" "Die," Lu Fei said indifferently, as if he wasn't talking about himself. "Aren't you afraid?" Sima Yue asked. "What's there to be afraid of?" Lu Fei didn't have the fear of death. Being contracted, I should have died. But because I was worried, I dragged out an ignoble existence. Now that I'm dead, it's just helping me. Sima Yue smiled, but didn't say whether she wanted to kill him or not. But Little Seven was still angry. She flew to the side of Lu Fei's contractor and stepped on his chest. "Who asked you to call people to kill Yu? Who asked you to call people?" Who? That person was already seriously injured and now he was on the verge of death. Lu Fei still stood there indifferently, as if that person's life and death had nothing to do with him. I'll send you to the Western Paradise. Little Seven said as she was about to step on him. A gust of wind suddenly blew over and Little Seven felt danger. She had no choice but to dodge and that fatal kick was stopped halfway. Brother, have mercy. A shout came from afar, shouting towards Sima Yue. Sima Yue looked towards the direction of the voice and saw a lady in colorful clothes flying over, followed by an old woman. The force that hit Little Seven just now was from the old woman. She had never seen this lady before but she recognized her. Seeing that Little Seven was about to attack again, she hurriedly stopped her. Little Seven, wait a minute. Little Seven had already lifted her leg, but when she heard Sima Yue's words, her leg stopped in mid-air. She looked at the old woman and shouted, "Were you the one who attacked me just now? Little friend, please have mercy." The old woman pleaded, but her expression was very arrogant, and she didn't have the consciousness to beg. What if I don't? Little Seven put her hands on her hips, and her leg landed on that person's chest, but she didn't use any strength. No. The lady in colorful clothes flew to Lu Fei's side, looked at Little Seven and said, "Please spare his life." "Who are you? You're helping this person, are you from the Sage Pavilion?" Little Seven looked at the lady in colorful clothes. "If you are, then I can't listen to you." The lady in colorful clothes looked at Sima Yue and begged, "Brother, please have mercy on him. I don't know who he is but he can't die." Chapter 721. Kaihong, you've grown so big. Sima Yue looked at Kaihong and waved at her. The little bird back then had already transformed into a human. Rainbow came in front of Sima Yue. Yue came down from the flower and stood beside her. "Brother, he is my uncle. Please don't kill his contractor." Rainbow grabbed Sima Yue's hand and said, "All right." Sima Yue nodded and said, "Since our little Rainbow has spoken, what's wrong with sparing his life?" "Thank you, big brother." Kaihong smiled. "Kaihong, what's the point of begging her? Now that I've become a contract beast, I'd rather die than live." Lu Fei looked at Kaihong, not at all happy that he had survived. "Uncle, you were injured because of Rainbow. That's why this person took advantage of the situation to contract you. Are you trying to make Kaihong die of guilt?" Tears fell from Kaihong's eyes. "Uncle, Kaihong only has you left. Are you going to abandon Kaihong too?" "I." Lu Fei's indifferent expression finally changed. If it wasn't for her, how could he still be alive after being contracted? "Uncle, don't worry, I will find a way to remove the contract for you," Rainbow said firmly. "Before that, don't even think about dying. Otherwise, I'll go with you and father." Lu Fei walked over and wiped away the tears on her face. "Since I promised your father that I would take care of you, I won't go back on my words when you grow up." He did not believe that there was a way to break the contract, but before Rainbow grew up, he would not end his life. "Humph." Little Seven snorted coldly. She couldn't help but exert more force on that person's foot. Sima Yue looked at that arrogant face and walked over. She pulled her over and said, "Little Seven, let me introduce you. This is Rainbow, a friend of mine. Rainbow, this is Little Seven." Seven turned her head to the side. She didn't like Rainbow's. Why did you let that person go just because this guy begged for mercy?" Rainbow now looked like a 15 or 16-year-old girl, while Little Seven was still a few years old child. She looked like she was younger than her. She didn't like this feeling. Sima Yue took out a pill and gave it to Rainbow, who fed it to the man. "Rainbow, take this person to Bei Gong and the others. I still have some things to take care of." She pointed at the mountain where Bei Gong Tang and the others were. Rainbow did not know what Sima Yue wanted to do. He nodded and flew away with Lu Fei. The old woman grabbed the man's clothes and left with him. "Little Seven, you should leave with them too," Sima Yue said to Little Seven. "I don't want it." Little Seven threw her a sideways glance. Sima Yue did not force her and ordered Hua Hua, eat these people. Hua was very happy. One flower after another, it ate all of them. Marlin was not spared either. Only Nalan Lan had used some kind of divine weapon to isolate herself, making Hua helpless. "Your Highness, Holy Maiden, save us." The people from the Sage Pavilion kept begging her for help, but the divine weapon's light was only big enough for one person. She had no way of letting them in. So she could not say or do anything. She could only close her eyes and put on a pained expression, as if she was feeling guilty for not being able to save them. "Your Highness, Holy Maiden, save us." I'm sorry." Nalan Lan kept shaking her head, praying for her master to come quickly. So, a few spiritual powers suddenly appeared in the air and broke Huahua's branches. The flower buds fell to the ground and the people who had been swallowed rolled out. Sima Yoyue's face darkened. After a while, the other party's reinforcements had arrived. Master. Nalan Lan opened her eyes and looked at the sky happily. A space tunnel opened and Nalan Lan's master, Yu Qingbai, brought a group of people out. With a wave of his hand, more than half of the Huahua's branches were cut by him. The Huahua had lost so many of its branches and was in so much pain that it went crazy. Its vines grew quickly and new branches bloomed. Humph, it's just a man-eating flower king. How dare it act so rashly in front of me? Yu Qingbai shouted. His spiritual powers quickly condensed and he was about to attack the Huahua. That power could directly smash the Huahua into pieces. Sima Yue quickly kept the violent Huahua. This guy had been provoked to the point that it had lost its mind. Even if it saw the attack coming, it would not dodge. Yu Qingbai's attack lost its target and hit the ground, creating a hole that was tens of meters deep. Seeing that the Huahua had been kept, Nalan Lan kept her divine weapon and flew to Yu Qingbai's side. Master. Are you all right? Yu Qingbai asked with concern. I'm fine. Luckily Master came in time. But those senior brothers and sisters. Nalan Lan said sadly. Although the Huahua's buds had been cut, some people had already lost their lives and would never wake up again. Yu Qingbai looked at the dead people wearing the Sage Pavilion's clothes and said, Those who hurt my Sage Pavilion's people will not be let off. Thank you, Master. Nalan Lan obediently flew behind him and stood together with the people who came with Yu Qingbai. Yu Qingbai turned his gaze to Little Tu and said, This is that auspicious beast? It actually turned into a human form? Master, this is originally a person. Nalan Lan said, He has the bloodline of a beast. Now that the spirit beast bloodline has swallowed the human bloodline, he is already an auspicious beast. Postnatal auspicious beast? This kind of auspicious beast is not that useful. Yu Qingbai looked at Little Tu and was somewhat disgusted. Master, although he is a postnatal auspicious beast, the power of his bloodline is very pure. It is higher than the average auspicious beast. Nalan Lan said. What kind of auspicious beast is he? This? I don't know. He only has the aura of an auspicious beast, but he did not show his true form. Nalan Lan said, So we still don't know his true form. Don't know his true form? A voice came from the space. Then, except for the sky above the lake, there were spatial fluctuations in several other places. Those people who were paralyzed on the ground saw their own rescuers. One by one they were half dead and half alive. They were all full of energy. Ancestor. Sect Master. Master, you're here. Clan Master. Those who came later were very angry when they saw their own disciples or clansmen beaten up like this. But now was not the time to be angry. With a wave of his long sleeves, a pill was sent directly to those people's mouths. Fan Lei saw the people who came later. His face was darker than the bottom of Yoyue's cooking pot. These guys seemed to have other intentions towards Little Tuesday. It did not seem to be just because he was an auspicious beast. He glanced at Little Tu and could not guess the real reason. Chapter 722. The following is provided for you, 722. Please enjoy. There was a constant fluctuation in the air and one by one people came out of the spatial tunnel. Only a small number of people were summoned by their own people, and most of the people came this time. Sima Yue saw the new people and came to Fan Lei's side saying, Dean Fan, what do you think? The situation is getting more and more complicated. These people seem to have come for other purposes. Fan Lei said, But what purpose could they have for so many people to gather here? No matter what the reason is, their goal is Little Tuesday, Sima Yue said. I only sent a general request signal to Old Yuan and the others. I didn't expect so many people to come. Even if he brings people here, it's useless. Fan Lei said worriedly. Sima Yue looked at those people, saying, There are dozens of people from the central region and hundreds of people from the outer region. What's going on? You can recognize their power from these people. Not bad. Unfortunately, we may not be able to do anything this time. Fan Lei said. There were so many people and so many of them were very strong. Even if Old Yuan brought people here, even if Sima Yue had the golden winged rock, even if there were so many Egret clan elders, they couldn't leave under the siege of so many monarch-level experts. No matter what, I won't hand over Little Tuesday, Sima Yue said. Dean Fan, I have a way to deal with these people. Please think of a way to leave in a while. Fan Lei looked at her and shook his head, saying, "You and Little Two are both students of my inner court, how can I leave you behind? Even if I survive, I won't have the face to see old Yuan again, and I won't have the face to see the students of the academy. Dean Fan, Little Two is my brother, I can't hand him over, and these people can't give up either. For Little Two, I may start a massacre today." Sima Yue said, "Although I am a student of the academy, I don't want the academy to be directly involved in this matter. Besides, if you're here, I'll kill you too." "What are you going to do?" Fan Lei had a bad feeling. "I have my own way of attacking indiscriminately. However, I might not be able to fight after that. If there are any other situations, I'll have to ask Director Fan to solve it." Sima Yue said, "Director Fan, I'm sorry." With that, she grabbed Fan Lei's arm when he wasn't paying attention and threw him out of the lake, out of the encirclement. Yu Qingbi and the others' target was Little Tuesday. Since he was still there, they didn't put a small Dean in their eyes. Sima Yue then walked in front of Feng Zhixing and Tuoba Wuchen. She bowed to them and said, "Young Master Tuoba, thank you for your help just now. The rest is between me and Little Tuesday. Please don't interfere and leave." No. Tuoba Wuchen didn't agree. If it was just a normal heavenly sect student, he would definitely leave without hesitation. However, she was his savior, Feng Zhixing's disciple and their child. How could he let her face half of the continent's people alone? Feng Zhixing didn't say anything. He only looked at her, using his eyes to express his meaning. Sima Yue looked at Feng Zhixing and smiled gently, "Don't worry. I haven't found my parents yet. There are still many things I need to do. I won't joke around with my life. Since I dare to let you leave, I naturally have absolute confidence. However, I ask that you protect my friends and take them away so that I don't have to worry about them." Feng Zhixing saw her smiling eyes and thought of her mother. The two of them had the same eyes, the same confident light, and the same confident words. He subconsciously nodded and said, "Okay. If anything happens to you, I will let the entire continent be buried with you." Sima Yue was shocked by his serious look. At the same time, she sighed in her heart. It was good to have a domineering master. Feng Zhixing turned and flew towards Bei Gong Tang and the others. When Sima Yue was talking just now, she glanced over. The Feng family saw him leave and followed closely. "Hey, you're serious?" Tuoba Wuchen saw that Feng Zhixing was really leaving and shouted at his back. He turned back to look at Sima Yue and sighed helplessly, "If he wants the entire continent to be buried with you, then count me in." Sima Yue smiled, "Young Master Tuoba, he means that I'm dead. Don't worry, I won't give you that chance. You have the same personality as your father. I really don't know what to do with you." Tuoba Wuchen turned and flew away. The Tuoba family also left with him. After the two families left, the center of the lake became empty. Sima Yue came in front of Flamingo and said, "You guys should leave too. We'll talk about your previous matters after this matter is over. Young Master Tuoba and the others helped me just now. You guys can escort them." Flamingo's leader glanced at Little Rock. Seeing that he had no objections, he accepted the order and left. He chased after Feng Zhixing and the others to meet up with Bei Gong Tang and the others. "Let's go. I'll send you guys off," Feng Zhixing said to Shimen Feng. "But what about Yue?" Kong Sangyi looked worriedly at the four people in the center of the lake. "She'll be fine." Bei Gong Tang said, "If we stay here, we'll hinder her movements. It's better to stay away." "But big sister Bei Gong, big brother is only one person. If we knew earlier, we would have brought our clansmen along with us. That way we could have helped big brother." Rainbow stomped her feet, her heart filled with worry. "Rainbow, you still don't believe in Yue? When did she do something she wasn't sure of?" Wei Ziqi said, "I think she's going to use that move." "That move? What move?" Tuoba Wuchen asked. "Let's leave here first. This is not the place to talk about life." Sima Yulin said, "As for what she's going to do, I believe we'll see soon. You guys are coming with us, right?" The 10 great villains were shocked at this time. Sima Yue gave them too many surprises. She was the junior valley master of the first-ranked Divine Devil Valley. She was an alchemist. She had the man-eating flower king and the king of the rocks, the golden-winged rock. She had a good relationship with the first-ranked clans in the central regions. She even said that if something happened, the entire continent would be buried with her. It was obvious that their relationship was not ordinary. Looking at all of these individually, it would be shocking, not to mention all of them happening to the same person. When they said that she wanted to create a force, they didn't take it to heart because they still didn't believe that she could do it. But now, seeing that she didn't change her expression in the face of so many forces, They all had faith in her. She could survive today's incident and create a force that belonged to her. If she can safely survive today, we will agree to what she said before. Feng Zhi suppressed the excitement in his heart and said faintly, "Actively cooperate with this special campaign to combat obscene and pornographic information on the internet. Readers, please report. Thank you." Chapter 723. She will definitely get through this. You have to remember what you said. Sima Yulin called out his flying beast saying, "Let's go. This is nothing to Yue, but it's going to hurt again this time." Fatty Chu wasn't worried about Sima Yue at all. Instead, he was looking forward to what would happen to those people. Really? Rainbow still didn't believe it and wanted to go back to help her. "Rainbow will be a hindrance to Yue if we stay here." Bei Gongtang said, "Furthermore, if Yue can't handle these people, there's no point in us staying. Instead of waiting for death here, why don't I go back and improve my strength so that I can avenge her in the future?" That's right. Sima Yulin nodded in agreement. Yue had told them this more than once. If they couldn't win, they shouldn't force themselves to come here. They should escape and seek revenge in the future. If a person died, then there would be nothing left. Therefore, they would never blindly risk their lives for others because it was useless. Tuoba Wu Chen and the others really didn't know why Fatty Chu and the others had so much confidence in Sima Yue, but seeing them like this, their hearts also calmed down a little. "Let's go." Sima Yulin urged again. The elders of the Egret clan and Honor Rock knew what Sima Yu wanted to do, so when Little Rock ordered them to leave, they did not hesitate and left the scene directly. They flew dozens of kilometers away and stopped in the air to observe the situation of the Scarlet Flame Lake. The other onlookers also retreated far away. As more and more experts appeared, they already felt that the situation was getting more and more serious. If a fight broke out, they would definitely be affected from their previous distance. Sima Yue and Little Two stood on the island in the middle of the lake. Little Seven refused to leave her side while Little Rock stood by her side to protect her. Now, there were only the four of them left on the island while there were hundreds of people in the air and on the shore. Moreover, any one of them had a higher cultivation level than her. "Little Two, when did you become so popular that so many people are fighting for you?" Even in such a situation, she still had the mood to chat with Little Tuesday. "I don't know. Maybe it's because he's handsome." Little Two said cheekily. "When did you learn to be so glib?" Sima Yue patted his head and said, "I'm guessing that you must be of some use to attract so many people. But what does it do? You want to know? Isn't that easy? Just ask and you'll know." Little Two said. "Do you think they'll tell you even if you ask? Are you stupid?" Little Seven said with a look of disdain. "How do you know without trying?" Little Two snorted, then took a step forward and stood in front of Sima Yue saying, "Are you here for me? It's just an auspicious beast, yet it can make so many experts appear. It's really strange." "Auspicious beast, there are so many of us today. You better follow us obediently," someone said. "What are the benefits of following you guys?" Little Two asked. "Your friend can live." "That's still useless to me." Little Two said, "I'm just a little auspicious beast. I'm afraid I can't attract the attention of so many forces, right? Since you want me to recognize you as my master, then can you tell me the reason? Whoever tells me that he can win against us today, I'll go with him." His words had a certain effect. Someone became excited and said, "There's a rumor in the continent that an immortal land is about to open, but not everyone can enter. They need an auspicious beast to open the way." Now that the auspicious beast has appeared early, the news of an auspicious beast appearing in the dark forest has spread. Naturally, it will cause everyone to fight over it. "You said that if I tell you the reason, you'll go with me." When the people present heard his words, they couldn't help but scold him for being stupid in their hearts. Originally, it was a tacit understanding, but now that it was said, it was different. Since everyone came for this matter and the news was subconsciously confirmed as true, they would definitely rob it when the time came. And that person was still looking at Little Two, really thinking that he would recognize him as his master. "I said that if you can win against us today, I'll go with you. You can't win against us, so why would I go with you?" Little Two looked at him as if he was stupid. He felt that this person's IQ was worrying. Did he cultivate too much and damage his brain? There are so many people today. Do you think you can get out of here alive?" That person shouted, "That said that we only want the blood of the auspicious beast. We didn't say that we want you alive. If you die, we can just divide your flesh and blood. It will also save us from killing each other." Only blood was enough? Sima Yue looked at the big man. She didn't know if this person was really stupid or just pretending to be stupid. If he wasn't stupid, he was easily tricked by Little Two into revealing the reason for coming. If he was stupid, he calmed the restless crowd with one sentence. Those forces who originally wanted to snatch Little Two calmed down when they heard his words. That's right, that immortal land only needed the blood of the auspicious beast. They could share it equally. There was no need to fight to the death. There are a lot of auspicious beasts in the primordial lands. Just look at your sage pavilion. Doesn't your holy son have a Kirin beast? Why don't you ask him for it? You have so many pavilions. You can ask him to take some out. You can share it equally. Why fight with others? Sima Yue didn't understand. This auspicious beast must be in its infancy. How difficult is it to find such an auspicious beast now? Someone said. Since you only need the blood of the auspicious beast, I think we shouldn't fight for it. How about we divide the auspicious beast's flesh and blood equally? Yu Qingbai said. The people who came later were very strong. If they fought with them, they wouldn't necessarily win. It was better to leave their strength for the immortal land to find opportunities. That's good. If they could avoid fighting, then they wouldn't fight. Since there was such a good way, why should they fight? It was just an auspicious beast. Although it was precious, it wasn't to the point of falling out with so many forces for it. It was best to divide it equally. Then we'll arrange it according to the order of strength and arrival. Yu Qingbai said. The sage pavilion was very strong. He was the first to arrive. No matter what, he would be first in line. Okay. I agree. Those shameless people agreed. They didn't see Sima Yue's face getting darker and darker. They wanted to divide Little Two's flesh and blood equally? Sima Yue saw that those guys were discussing enthusiastically. Many people looked at Little Two with undisguised killing intent. She was getting angrier and angrier. She sneered, "You guys are too much. Do you really think this continent is your backyard? That you can do whatever you want? If you want to kill Little Two for his flesh and blood, have you asked for our opinion?" Chapter 724. Sima Yue's cold voice interrupted their discussion. They looked at her as if they were looking at a tiny ant. "Humph, a tiny ant dares to speak to us like this? How audacious!" An old woman shouted. "Although you have the golden-winged great roc, your contracted beast won't be of much use here today. Although there are many bird races in the dark forest, there aren't any big races. You, the king of the rocks, are useless. You'd better obediently hand over the auspicious beast, and we can still give you a way out." When Sima Yu heard these words, she was both angry and amused, saying, "You want to kill my family, but you're still so self-righteous. It seems like when you cultivate, you've not only cultivated your spirit energy but also your skin, right? Otherwise, how could he be so shameless?" ****. One of the elders choked on Sima Yue's words and sent a wave of spiritual energy towards Sima Yue. Sima Yue pulled Little Two and Little Seven and retreated. The spiritual energy hit a black rock and ripples appeared on the surface of the lake. The enchantment enveloped the entire lake. This was the array left behind by Fan Lei. Previously, it had failed because Little Two had absorbed all the surrounding spiritual power, but it was not destroyed. The position she was standing at just now was the array stone that activated the array. Once spiritual power entered the array stone, the array automatically activated. This spirit formation was one of the most difficult spirit formations. Just activating it was not something an ordinary person could do. With her current strength, it would take a while before she could inject enough spiritual energy. In order to catch them off guard, she had angered those people just now so that someone could help her. Who would have thought that those old fellows would be so easily provoked that someone would come to their aid so quickly? Fortunately, someone had sealed the space above the small lake, so when those people came, they were not above the small lake, so there was no outsider in the enchantment. Little Seven, Little Two, pay attention to the situation outside. If someone attacks, inject your spiritual energy inside. She instructed. Yu, what are you doing? Little Seven asked. I'm going to set up an array. Since these people want to kill Little Two, I'll make them suffer. Sima Yue finished speaking and took out a large array stone. This was something she had exchanged with Zhou Xiaotian in the southern 7 prefectures. There were only a few pieces in total. Originally, she wanted to use it when the array strength was higher, but in this situation she had to use it. Sima Yue placed the array stone in the center of the island in the middle of the lake, then took out some ordinary array stones to set up on the island. When the people outside saw that the small lake was covered by a thin layer of mist and the small island at the center of the lake had disappeared, they were astonished for a moment. However, they immediately reacted. That person must have made a move and activated some kind of formation. This is a formation? Yu Qingbi asked in astonishment. Master. Nalan Lan said, this array was there before. We were blocked by this array for a long time. Later on, for some reason, it lost its effectiveness. I didn't expect it to still be usable now. If it's just a spirit formation, just break it for her. An old man who came with Yu Qingbi said indifferently. At the same time, he prepared to condense spiritual energy to attack the barrier. Wait. A middle-aged man came out from behind and looked at the array excitedly. Xie Jun, what are you doing? Yu Qingbi knew this man. He was an elder of an array sect. Seeing him like this, he asked in a deep voice. Yu Qingbi, do you know what kind of array this is? Xie Jun asked. Isn't it just an ordinary obstruction array? Why are you making such a fuss about it? Yu Qingbi said. You're wrong. This is an array formation. It's an array formation. Xie Jun said excitedly. So what if it's an array formation? Do you remember that there was a sect that lived on arrays? It was popular in the primordial lands. All the forces bowed their heads and then disappeared in an instant? Xie Jun asked. Why don't I know? Didn't your sect use their inheritance as a banner to establish a sect? What does this have to do with the current situation? An old woman in black came out and asked. Sima Yue just looked up and saw the logo on the old woman in black's clothes. She recognized that it was the logo of Cloud Cave. The people of Cloud Cave also came? It was the first time she saw the people of Cloud Cave after the little realm cheated the people of Cloud Cave. Thinking of Wu Lingyu's chat, she said that Cloud Cave was recently fighting with Divine Devil Valley. Now that she saw the people of Cloud Cave, she had to entertain her well. She just didn't know what the status of this person was in Cloud Cave. And hey, you don't know. Xie Jun bowed to Auntie Hei and said, this spirit formation is unique to the sect that day, and it is a formation that only core disciples can learn. Now that it has appeared here, aren't you curious at all? This array was arranged by the people of the heavenly sect. It's not the people of that sect. Yu Qingbi said. That sect has disappeared for nearly 1,000 years. How can this be related to that sect? Well, get out of the way. We don't have time to discuss this array and a sect that has disappeared. Yes, Xie Jun, wait until we break the barrier. If you want to study the array, just find the broken array. Now get out of the way. And Hei also said. Xie Jun saw that everyone was looking at him and didn't dare to say anything. He just retreated to the back and guessed how this array was related to the heavenly sect. When this was over, he would go to the heavenly sect and ask in person. Thinking of visiting the heavenly sect in the future, he didn't want to go against the heavenly sect. And this Sima Yue was a student of the heavenly sect. He couldn't embarrass her. In the battle between the array and the heavenly sect, he was hesitant. When he didn't pay attention, he heard a boom. Yu Qingbi and the others were already attacking the barrier. The first attack made the array tremble, but it wasn't completely broken. Little 2 and Little 7 quickly injected their spirit power into the place that Sima Yue said and patched the barrier a little. Yu, the sect's attack is very powerful. We can only hold on for a while. Little 7 said. Sima Yue thought for a while and called out Chongming. Think of a way to stall for 5 minutes. She didn't want Qian Yin and the others to come out because she didn't want Nalan Lan to know that it was her. Moreover, they weren't strong enough. It was useless for them to come out. But now it seemed that she needed her help. In fact, she thought too much. When Nalan Lan was in the Nalan family, she didn't receive much news from the outside world. After she came to the Nalan family, she had been in seclusion to stimulate her body. After she came out, she didn't hear about Chongming. She hadn't seen Chongming in the sacred city before she was brought to the primordial lands. Therefore, she didn't know Chongming. Chapter 725. Chongming nodded at Sima Yue. His hands began to move rapidly. A ripple began to spread out from his hands and finally attached to the barrier. The barrier that was originally on the verge of collapse seemed to have been wrapped up and became stable again. Ugh. After doing this, he knelt down on one knee and clutched his chest. Blood flowed out from the corner of his mouth. Chongming, how are you? Little 2 and Little 7 were released from the array and hurried over to support him. Chongming, are you hurt? Chongming waved his hand and said, it's fine. It's just that it's a bit difficult for me to use this move with my current strength. Sima Yue also noticed that something was wrong with Chongming, but she was busy setting up the array and had no time to check on him. She took out a pill and threw it over. Little 2 caught it and immediately fed it to him. Chongming felt better after eating the pill. He stood up and said, this spatial distortion is different from others. This can distort the space outside the barrier so that their attacks can't touch the barrier. However, I won't be able to maintain this barrier for long. Once the time is up, this barrier will most likely disappear in an instant. Sima Yue threw the array stones into the ground one by one, and the array patterns were drawn at the same time. The various techniques were dazzling. At this time, the people outside also realized that something was wrong. Our attacks seemed to have been swallowed by something. They didn't touch the enchantment at all, Auntie Hay said with a frown. Spatial distortion. Xie Jun said, this must be spatial distortion. What is spatial distortion? Yu Qingbi asked. Space distortion is the distortion of the layer of space outside the barrier. When our attacks touch the distorted layer, they will be transmitted into the void, so even if we attack now, it will be useless, Xie Jun explained. Then what should we do? There's no other way. Once it was used, it could only wait for it to dissipate. If one wanted to use space distortion, they would need to be very strong. That person's strength was very low, so it was impossible for him to use this move. He must have used some other method. This kind of maintenance time is generally not long, just wait for the time to pass. Xie Jun said. Let's wait then. He's just a god emperor brat. What kind of waves can he make? Yu Qingbi sneered. He didn't need to say that. Everyone could only wait. What else could they do? All the attacks were useless. No one could do anything. 5 minutes passed and Sima Yu finished setting up the array. She just had to insert her spirit energy and it would be activated immediately. She came to Halcyon's side and said gratefully, Thank you, Halcyon. Go back and rest. Halcyon nodded and allowed her to take him back. Sima Yu was and then looked at the group of people who were getting more and more impatient. With a cold expression her face. Shaoqi, I'm going to trigger the tribulation lightning. Everyone here will be treated as the tribulation lightning. But you and you. But to you, but you don't know. You can trigger the lightning tribulation. Little Seven looked at Sima Yue in surprise. She was still thinking about how she would deal with these people. She thought of countless ways, but she didn't expect her to do this. Sima Yue nodded. Even if Little Two is willing to follow them, these people don't intend to let us leave alive. So many experts are surrounding us. Do we have any other way to leave? Since that's the case, let's wipe them all out. Little Seven looked at Sima Yue's face. She didn't think that she was cruel. Instead, she was excited. But she was still a little afraid when she thought about lightning tribulation. I've never experienced lightning tribulation. I don't know if this is the reason why I can't evolve. Maybe I can try. Little Seven thought. Maybe I can try this time. Little Seven, this lightning tribulation is very powerful. If you don't want to experience it, I can send you to a place. You can only come out after this matter is over. Sima Yu continued when she saw that she was silent. I'll go with you. Little Seven said affirmatively. But I've never experienced lightning tribulation. If something happens, remember to send my body back to Old Yuan. Will you lose your life if you experience lightning tribulation? I don't know. Little Seven said. I'm not human. If I want to increase my strength, I have to evolve. But I haven't evolved for many years. Actually, I was willing to follow you because my intuition told me that if I follow you, I might be able to cross this bottleneck and evolve. But I don't know what's going on. Maybe this is my chance to evolve. I want to try. Sima Yue guessed that Little Seven had a purpose for following her. But Su Jin said that she wasn't in danger, so she didn't ask about it. She didn't expect that she did it for this. You haven't experienced lightning tribulation. If you can't take it, tell me. I'll send you there. Okay. Sima Yue and Little Two agreed. Then she said to Little Two, You just evolved into an auspicious beast. It's good for you to experience lightning tribulation. Like Little Seven, if you can't take it, I'll send you in. Little Two nodded. Boom, as soon as the time was up, the space returned to normal. The people outside couldn't wait to break the enchantment. After delaying for so long, you've lived a little longer. And Hay said, Now offer your flesh and blood. She spoke in a rewarding tone, as if it was an honor for Little Two to offer his flesh and blood. If you want to take my life, then let's see if you have the ability. Little Two didn't have the slightest fear. Even if he was forced by so many forces, he still held his head high. Sima Yue looked around at the people outside. There were nearly 200 forces in the middle and outer regions. They were all led by elders or sect masters. Thank you for thinking so highly of us. There are actually so many forces coming to take our lives. Seeing that it's not easy for everyone to cultivate if anyone leaves. What a joke. Who would leave at this time? A white-bearded old man scolded. Sima Yue saw the Tianshan sect's old ancestor standing behind the old man. She knew that he should also be the Tianshan sect's old ancestor. She sneered. Your Tianshan sect's old ancestor's lifespan is coming to an end. Naturally he won't want to leave. But you may be stupid, but others aren't as stupid as you. There will always be people who want to leave. If you leave now, I can let bygones be bygones. Haha. A person who is about to die can actually say that he will let bygones be bygones. Do you think you can live? Sima Yue glanced at the man and didn't say anything. She was too lazy to waste her breath on people who were about to die. Chapter 726. The following is provided for you, 726. Please enjoy. We withdraw, Xie Jun suddenly said. Xie Jun, are you out of your mind? Someone sneered. Xie Jun cupped his hands at Sima Yue and said, we quit. Sima Yue waved at him, indicating that they could leave. She was grateful to Xie Jun. When he saw the barrier, he stopped everyone from attacking immediately and bought her some time. Moreover, he did not reveal any killing intent afterwards. He did not want to take their lives. Xie Jun took his people and flew away. They didn't open a spatial channel to leave. Instead, like everyone else, they watched from afar. He also wanted to know how this person was going to get out of this predicament. Sima Yue looked at the others and said, is there anyone else who wants to leave? No one said anything. All right, since you don't want to leave, you can stay. Sima Yue said as she channeled some spiritual energy into her feet. The array that she had just set up was instantly activated. Those people felt a slight fluctuation in the air, but they did not take it to heart. Xie Jun, who was already far away from the center of the forest, changed his expression. Dragon trapping array, it's actually the dragon trapping array. He cried out involuntarily. The person behind him saw him turn pale with fright and asked curiously, Master, what kind of formation is the dragon trapping array? Why are you so surprised? The dragon trapping formation is also a formation left behind by the sect. It is an extremely powerful trapping formation. There weren't many formations required, but they were difficult to set up. The incomplete formation at the back of our mountain is the dragon trapping formation. It's a pity that we haven't been able to come up with a simple method like we did back then. I didn't expect to see it with my own eyes today. What a surprise. Master, the defense array and the dragon trapping array both appeared in the Heavenly Heaven School. Could there be people from the sect in the school? Very likely. Xie Jun said. Fortunately we came out. Otherwise we wouldn't be able to come out now. Xie Jun sighed. Master, even you can't break this dragon trapping array? Even a true dragon wouldn't be able to escape from the dragon trapping array, let alone us. Xie Jun said, moreover, this dragon trapping array is ever-changing. As long as there is a little difference, the way to break it will be different. Therefore, since ancient times, the only person who can break this dragon trapping array is the person who set it up. In other words, apart from that person, no one else can come out? In theory, yes. What is this person trying to do? Although this dragon trapping array is powerful, it also trapped them inside. Let's wait and see. Xie Jun said, maybe they can really leave this place. The other onlookers were confused by Sima Yue's move. Why did she trap herself with those people? As an array formation master, Hongwu could tell at a glance that this was a trapping array that trapped everyone together. Where did this trapping array come from? Aniani asked. Of course it was arranged by Yue. Fatty Chu said proudly. She's also an array master? Aniani's eyes widened in surprise. Of course it is. If not, where would this array come from? Fatty Chu glanced at Aniani with a look that said, are you stupid? Isn't she an alchemist? Who said that an alchemist can't be an array master? The 10 great evils were stunned again. This guy was also an array master? Wasn't this too horrifying? Fatty Chu saw the shock on their faces and snickered in his heart. When they were with her, they were shocked by her from time to time. These people didn't know anything about her yet. After a while, Hongwu said faintly, not only is she an array master, she's also a very powerful array master. This array can't be set up by ordinary array masters, let alone in such a short time. But she trapped everyone together. How are they going to come out? Shi Chen asked. She's not in a hurry to come out now. Those people who dare to have designs on Yue can wait to go to hell. Fatty Chu clenched his fist and snorted. Shi Chen and Feng Kai looked at each other, not understanding what they were doing. Just at this moment, Hongwu suddenly shouted, array within array. Everyone knew what array within array was. and INE and the rest had heard him mention it more than once. Although he also knew how to set up an array within an array, he definitely couldn't set it up in such a short time. Heavens, what kind of genius is she? Hongwu looked at Sima Yue, his eyes shining. And INE and the rest had never seen him like this. Sima Yue stood on the spot, looking at the group of people who finally reacted and smiled sweetly. Why did you trap us? Yu Qingbai and the rest stared at her, not hiding the killing intent in their eyes. If she hadn't suddenly activated a small array to protect the three of them, they would have already killed them all. I'll treat you all to a big meal. Sima Yue said, I feel that I haven't stretched my muscles for a long time, so I'll treat you all together. Everyone didn't understand what she meant, but a bad premonition arose in their hearts. Sima Yue mobilized the top-grade purple lightning in her body, and her body emitted a special aura. Following the release of this aura, dark clouds began to condense in the sky. Everyone present were strong cultivators who had experienced many things, but once the aura of the lightning tribulation appeared, their faces changed. There were so many of them together and they were all very strong. If they were to undergo the tribulation together, they were afraid that the lightning tribulation would directly strike them into pieces. Lightning tribulation. Why is there a lightning tribulation? It's her. She must have caused it. Sima Yue admitted generously, that's right, I caused it. Didn't I say that I'll invite everyone to stretch their muscles with me? That's right, I was the only one who went through the tribulation. This time, there are so many people who are going to be struck by lightning with me, I'm very happy. You're so despicable. Ma Lin scolded. Despicable? Sima Yue suddenly laughed. So many of you have surrounded us here wanting to kill me and take my brother's flesh and blood, aren't you despicable? This is an open and above-board counterattack. Quickly stop, don't trigger the lightning tribulation again. Someone shouted. It's too late, once the lightning tribulation is triggered, if it doesn't strike people, how will it leave? Sima Yue kindly told them this fact. Those people also understood that once the lightning tribulation appeared, it would definitely not leave easily. Seeing that the dark clouds were getting deeper and deeper, they couldn't care less about little two, and one by one they turned to attack the array. As long as the array was broken, they could leave here. Before the lightning tribulation struck, they could leave. Sima Yue saw that their attacks were getting more and more impatient and laughed. This is the dragon trapping array, even if a real dragon is here it can't get out. You guys should just stop worrying and face the lightning tribulation with me. Hearing her words, those people began to go crazy, and attacked the array even more frantically, but it didn't have any effect at all. I love my academy. Actively cooperate with the special operation to combat obscene and pornographic information on the internet, please report. Thank you everyone. Chapter 727. The formation couldn't be broken, and the tribulation clouds were getting thicker and thicker. Those old fellows who usually didn't show their emotions on their faces changed. Young friend, everything can be discussed. If you open this formation, we won't want the blood of the auspicious beast anymore. How about that? Someone gave in and tried to put in a good word with Sima Yue. Don't you think it's too late to say that now? Sima Yue enjoyed the anger and fear in their eyes with satisfaction. These people were all high and mighty. Presumably, it had been many years since they had tasted the feeling of being at the mercy of others. Young friend, as long as you open up the formation, we're willing to reconcile. Another person called out. Reconcile? Sima Yue was amused by these people who still thought they were superior. If it was before, reconciliation would have been a good choice. But now it's too late. Even if I let you go today and reconcile with you, I'm afraid you won't let me go in the future. If that's the case, why bother trying to reconcile? Little friend, do you really want to become enemies with so many of us? Even if you are a student of the Sky Heaven School, the school won't let you do this. Since persuasion was useless, he changed to threats. What does today's matter have to do with the academy? Sima Yue said, although we are students of the academy didn't care about this before. It's our own business now. This was also the reason why she had asked Fan Lei to leave. The academy was not directly involved, so when the time came, the academy could not be blamed. Little friend, if I were you, I wouldn't waste my energy on other things right now. Instead, I would prepare for the lightning tribulation. Although I really like to see your regretful faces. Sima Yue said, the grudge between us was formed when you insisted on killing us. I'm not a good-tempered person either. If someone wants to kill me, I'll stick my neck out. Besides, I gave you a chance to leave but you didn't take it. The color of the tribulation clouds was still darkening, scaring the onlookers and causing them to continuously retreat. At this moment, the spirit beasts in the forest became frantic and all of them ran out of the forest. Bei Gong Tang and the others previously felt that they were too far away, but now they were just outside the lightning tribulation. This tribulation cloud feels like it's going to come down. This was the first time Nine had seen such a terrifying lightning tribulation. It gave him a suffocating feeling as if it could destroy the world. This move of hers is too ruthless. She first trapped them and then used the lightning tribulation to deal with them. He's going to wipe them all out. The ninth brother, Tao Hongxing, smacked his lips and sighed. He felt lucky that Sima Yue did not use these tricks to deal with them. If she really wanted to deal with them, the possibility of them breaking out of the encirclement was really small. Feng Zhixing and Tuoba Wuchen were also shocked. Words couldn't describe his feelings now that Yue was able to trigger the lightning tribulation. This move was indeed ruthless, pulling everyone to undergo the tribulation together. With so many people present, the tribulation would most likely be bigger than anything they had ever seen before. Although those people were very strong, their bodies were not as strong as spirit beasts. In front of the lightning tribulation they were just a bunch of weaklings. However, the worry in everyone's hearts did not dissipate. Rainbow saw the tribulation cloud and her eyes were filled with fear. She grabbed Bei Gong Tang's hand and asked in a trembling voice, "Sister Bei Gong, such a big lightning tribulation. Brother is inside. Isn't it very dangerous?" If even those monarch-ranked experts could not withstand it, how could Sima Yue escape? Yue has the top-grade purple lightning in her body. Normal lightning tribulations do not have much of a threat to her. Bei Gong Tang explained. Do not have much of a threat? Everyone's jaws dropped. They all had the same expression and looked extremely funny. She's too unbelievable. And Ione cried out, what is she made of? How can she be so powerful? No one's achievements are obtained for free. Yue has suffered a lot and put in a lot of sweat. Wei Ziqi said emotionally, although the top-grade purple lightning in her body is very powerful, in order to successfully obtain it, she was struck by the lightning tribulation until her entire body turned into charcoal. Only her internal organs still had a trace of life. That kind of pain is not something that ordinary people can understand. That's right. In order to learn alchemy and arrays, she often did not rest for a few months. She was always immersed in research. So although she has some achievements, it makes people feel even more distressed. Everyone present was moved. They did not think that Sima Yue would experience so much pain. Their gazes towards her were less envious and more admiring. Not to mention other things, just this lightning tribulation alone was something that they did not have the courage to face. Suddenly their faces changed. Everyone stepped back at the same time. The tribulation cloud in the sky was rapidly expanding. Their location was already within the range of the lightning tribulation. Heavens, this lightning tribulation won't destroy the entire forest, right? Fatty Chu cried out, can Yue withstand it? Bei Gong Tang and the others also became serious. They were faintly worried. Those who were trapped in the dragon trapping array saw the black tribulation cloud and their faces became paler. They looked at Sima Yue with eyes full of regret. If they knew it would be like this, even if they could not get the meat of the auspicious beast today, they would not go against her. But there was no medicine for regret in this world. Each of them could only swallow the bitter fruit into their stomachs. Pa-dash, ah-dash, the first wave of lightning fell. Many people were struck and screamed. Those who were more powerful condensed a body protection, but it was broken in a few strikes. Bolts of lightning continued to strike down, and miserable screams continued to ring out. Those who were weaker were struck twice and turned into dregs. There were also a few who were in a better state. They weren't in a sorry state and were instead wrapped in halos of light. For example, Nalan Lan and Yu Qingbai. The two of them were in the protective circle and looked at the miserable situation outside. Lightning protection divine tool. Someone recognized the thing in Nalan Lan's hand. Nalan Lan and Yu Qingbai were incomparably glad at this time. Because of Nalan Lan's physique, Yu Qingbai calculated that there would be a lightning tribulation when she advanced to the god rank, so he found this thing for her. But when she advanced to the god rank, there was no lightning tribulation. He did not expect it to come in handy now. Sima Yue's small protective array was still protecting the three of them from being struck by lightning, but it could not hold on for long. She looked at the two people who were protected in the air and frowned in dissatisfaction. Pa-dash, lightning kept falling. She found that she had the most lightning here and suddenly had an idea. If the two of you can't hold on, call me. After she finished speaking, she flew out of the protective array. Pa-dash, a bolt of lightning fell on her body. She only felt that her body was a little numb. There was no pain like before. After the electric current went around her body, it was absorbed by the top-grade purple lightning into the lightning pool. Chapter 728. The following is provided for you, 728. Please enjoy. This was the first time she had been struck by lightning since the heavenly lightning in the Nine-Star Ocean. Thinking of the pain from the previous time, she still had some lingering fears before she came out. She didn't expect it to be so easy this time. She was very happy. This top-grade purple lightning was really quite useful. The top-grade purple lightning in her body felt her thoughts and looked at her with disdain. Back then, it didn't know how it was absorbed into the body of such a weak chicken. It was simply too embarrassing. No, it had to become stronger quickly. Once it became stronger, it would be able to break away from this weak chicken. Yes, it had to absorb more lightning. Otherwise, it wouldn't be able to become stronger. At the thought of this, it absorbed even more frequently, constantly attracting lightning to strike it. Sima Yue realized that the lightning was striking her more frequently. She thought that it was because she left the protection array and didn't think much about it. She flew towards Nalan Lan and the rest. "What are you doing? Go away." Nalan Lan saw Sima Yue coming over and her expression changed as she screamed. They had been observing the situation outside and realized that Yue, as the person undergoing the tribulation, was struck by lightning the most times. Now that she came over, wouldn't they be implicated by her and have to undergo the tribulation together? Sima Yue stopped outside their protection array and smiled at the people inside. Then, she stopped and didn't leave. Pa! A thick lightning bolt struck down. Not only did it strike her, it also struck Yu Qingbi and the rest protection array. Pa! Pa! A few lightning bolts struck down consecutively. Nalan Lan and Yu Qingbi's hearts trembled. Master, the lightning outside is too strong. I'm afraid this lightning protection array won't last long. Master, we have to think of a way now. Nalan Lan shouted. What can we do now? Yu Qingbi was also anxious. The space has been locked. We can't leave even if we want to. Pa! Ah! A loud boom exploded above their heads. Nalan Lan screamed in fright. Sima Yue did not expect such a huge lightning bolt to strike her. Without any defense, she was turned into charcoal. The top-grade purple heavenly lightning shrank its neck in the lightning pool. Damn it, it had absorbed too much just now and forgot to control its strength. It had attracted such a huge heavenly lightning. It hoped that she didn't notice. Cough, cough, she coughed twice and spat out a mouthful of black smoke. Her entire body was charred black, and her hair had turned into an explosive style. Fortunately, her clothes were specially refined so they wouldn't be burnt. Otherwise she would have to run naked. Damn it, didn't you say that it wouldn't have any killing power? Why is it so painful? She took out a pill and swallowed it. Only then did the burning pain on her body lessen a little. The tribulation clouds in the sky were still very thick. They didn't disperse even though they had been striking for so long. This meant that there was still a lot of lightning to come. In the dragon trapping array, many people had already fainted on the ground or fell into the lake. In short, there were corpses everywhere. There were also some people who used this method to defend against the lightning. However, after being struck for so long, those methods were useless. They could only rely on themselves to receive the heavenly lightning. Sima Yue looked at Little Seven and Little Tuesday. The defense array had already collapsed. The two of them were relying on their own strength to defend against the lightning. Little Two was still fine. Although he was in human form, he had the strong defense of a spirit beast. Little Seven was in a worse state. She had never experienced a lightning tribulation before, and her body wasn't as strong as Little Two's. After being struck by the lightning, she instantly felt as if her body was being torn apart. The spiritual power in her body involuntarily circulated. After that, the two of them were struck a few more times. They were both injured. Although Little Seven ate the pill that Sima Yue gave her, she still felt that she couldn't take it anymore. Brother, Little Seven can't take it anymore. Little Two shouted at Sima Yue. Sima Yue was surrounding Nalan Lan and the rest to guide the heavenly lightning. When she heard Little Two's shout, she looked down and immediately gave up on them. She quickly flew to the small island and pulled Little Seven into the water. Then she kept Little Seven into the spirit pagoda. This was the method that she had just thought of. She couldn't make people disappear in broad daylight. However, if she went into the water, who would know where Little Seven went? Water was a conductor. If the lightning went into the water, it would be even more uncomfortable for her. Hence she quickly came out. After leaving the water, she didn't find trouble with Nalan Lan and her disciple anymore. Instead, she stood on the small island and looked at the grand scene that she created. This top-grade purple lightning is really useful. If it was in the past, I would have collapsed long ago with so much lightning. Sima Yue muttered to herself. When the top-grade purple lightning heard Sima Yue praising it, it smiled proudly. However, in its happiness, it forgot to control its aura and accidentally attracted another heavenly lightning. Padash! The lightning that was as thick as a water bucket hit her body. She was stunned. Isn't it always a small heavenly lightning? What the hell is with such a big lightning? She wailed in her heart. Ami Tofu, I really didn't do it on purpose. The top-grade purple lightning repented in its heart. It felt that Sima Yue's body seemed to be a little miserable from the lightning. It quickly took measures to remedy it. Sima Yue was in so much pain that she grimaced. Fortunately, after this lightning, there was no other lightning for the time being. It seemed that the entire lightning tribulation needed to rest and then recover. When the others saw that the lightning had stopped, they weren't very happy. This was because the dark clouds didn't seem to have any intention of dissipating. This meant that there was more to come. You brat, you're ruthless. If I don't die today, I will kill you with my own hands. Anhei said hatefully. Their lightning tribulation wasn't as powerful as Sima Yue's, but they were more miserable than her. There was no flesh on Anhei's body. It was all charred black charcoal. However, these old fellows were very strong. They used their spiritual power to protect their heart meridians. They wouldn't die for a while. It would have been better if Anhei didn't say anything. Now that she said it, it reminded Sima Yue that she couldn't let them have a chance to leave. These old things underestimated the enemy, so they gave her time to implement her plan. She couldn't make the same mistake as them. After making up her mind, she looked at the dark clouds in the sky and then smiled very unscrupulously. Since you've said so, I definitely can't let you leave alive. She ate a pill and waited for the next wave of lightning to come. Anhei's heart went numb when she saw Yue's smile. What bad things was she going to do again? Padash! The lightning began to strike randomly. Sima Yue suddenly flew up from the island and ran straight to Anhei. Auntie Hei was originally hanging on by a breath. As a result, when Sima Yue came, the center of the lightning immediately shifted to her. Several bolts of lightning struck together, directly turning her into a pile of slag. I love my academy. Actively cooperate with the special action to combat obscene and pornographic information on the internet. Thank you. Chapter 729. The following is provided for you, 729. Please enjoy. This time, not only did Anhei disappear, but the people nearby were also not spared. Sima Yue was satisfied with the result and began to run around in the dragon-trapping array. Wherever she went, the lightning was especially fierce. Those who were still stubbornly resisting saw her coming and ignored the pain in their bodies and ran around. When the onlookers outside saw her like this, they could not help but twitch their mouths. It was obviously a very serious matter, but they made people feel inexplicably happy. This guy is too bad. An INE commented. The others nodded in agreement. He was really too bad. But why did they not hate him at all? Instead they liked him a little? Sima Yue ran one round and could not run anymore. Those people were struck by lightning, but she was struck even harder. And there were not many left alive. And in the process, Nalan Lan's divine artifact was completely destroyed, the protective circle disappeared, and they were also struck by lightning. However, she had a lot of treasures. She took out some clothes and put them on. When the lightning struck her body, the lethality was sharply reduced. After being struck a few times, she did not lie down, but she was also in a sorry state. Her face was distorted from the pain. Yu Qingbi did not have anything good to avoid lightning. He took a few things, but they were all destroyed by the lightning. He had to use his spiritual power to resist. He was in a sorry state. Sima Yue saw that almost all of them had fallen to the ground and felt that it was worth it to be struck so hard. Suddenly, her face changed and she secretly shouted, "Not good." Because the lightning tribulation was too powerful, when it struck, even the space was distorted. It had unintentionally broken the dragon-trapping array. Yu Qingbi and Nalan Lan were happy to see this. Nalan Lan shouted, "Master." Yu Qingbi was in pain all over, but at this time he could only grit his teeth and endure. He took out a boundary-breaking talisman and injected his spiritual power, but before he could open it, he was struck by lightning and was charred on the outside and tender on the inside. Yu Qingbi felt that he had never suffered such an injury in his life. His heart was full of hatred. He really wanted to tear Sima Yue apart with his own hands. However, he didn't have the time or energy to do so now. He threw away the remaining half of the breaking boundary talisman in his hand and took out another one. He managed to open a space tunnel before the lightning struck. However, before they could enter, another bolt of lightning struck the two of them. By the time the two of them recovered, the passage had already closed. After wasting 2 boundary-breaking talismans in a row, Yu Qingbi's heart ached. He took out the last piece. If they failed this time, they would probably die here today. Fortunately, he succeeded this time. The lightning seemed to have struck him twice and he wanted to take a break, which gave him enough time. Let's go. Yu Qingbi pulled Nalan Lan into the spatial passage. Master, senior apprentice brother, he. Nalan Lan looked at the piece of charcoal in the distance, which had already been struck to its last breath. I don't have time to care about him. Let's go. Just as the two of them entered, the passageway closed. The two of them had successfully escaped. Before leaving, Nalan Lan turned around and saw Sima Yue. Suddenly, her eyes widened as if she had recognized her. The lightning struck her human skin mask, and she was now showing her original appearance. Although her face was now charred black, her outline could still be recognized. Because the power of the lightning tribulation had increased, Sima Yue was also a little overwhelmed. She could only watch as Nalan Lan and Yu Qingbi broke the boundary and left. Damn you. You can even escape like this. She cursed in her heart and continued to resist the lightning. Although Yu Qingbi and Nalan Lan had escaped, the others were not so lucky. Although most of them had the breaking boundary talisman in their hands, they had been struck by lightning for so long that they no longer had the ability to use it. They could only watch as the chance of survival slipped away from their hands. There were a few who could barely fly. However, before they could fly far, they were destroyed by the lightning. As more and more people were destroyed, the power of the lightning tribulation became weaker and weaker. It was not like before, where the last lightning strike was always the most powerful. Half an hour later, the tribulation cloud had enough lightning and left satisfied. Sima Yue was now lying on the ground and could not get up. Although she was now immune to lightning, she could not withstand such lightning strikes. Moreover, there were always a few big ones from time to time, which made her whole body hurt. Little Tu was lying beside her. His situation was worse than hers. However, as long as he was still breathing, it was fine for them. The onlookers flew over. Feng Zhixing and the others flew the fastest. They came to Sima Yue's side. Yue, how are you? Feng Zhixing saw that she was covered with cuts and bruises. He was very distressed. It was all because he was not strong enough to intimidate these people. Otherwise, why would she do such a thing when she was surrounded? Tuoba Wuchen saw Feng Zhixing's expression and knew what he was thinking. Seeing him blaming himself, he could not help but roll his eyes in his heart. Big brother, look at the charred corpses everywhere. Your little disciple is already very good, okay? Although Sima Yue was in pain, it was not as bad as the last time. She was lying on the ground. Looking at the people who surrounded her, she said, I'm fine. Don't worry about me. Go and see if there are any survivors. Bei Gong Tang and the others understood tacitly, and immediately went to check. They really did discover that a few of them were still alive. These people were all very strong and had a lot of secret methods. They actually survived such a destructive lightning tribulation. However, before they could be happy, Bei Gong Tang and the others found them. Then, taking advantage of their heavy injuries, they all got rid of them. From then on, the people who surrounded them, other than Xie Jun and his disciples who left, and Nalan Lan and her master who escaped, were all annihilated. Yue, quickly tell master how are you? Feng Zhixing wanted to take Sima Yue's pulse, but her body was already burnt. He did not know where to start. Master, I'm fine. I just need to eat some pills. I'll be fine in 2 or 3 days. Sima Yue smiled at Feng Zhixing. But that appearance was as ugly as it could be. The 10 great villains, Xie Jun and the others who rushed over were all shocked when they heard her call Feng Zhixing master. They thought that she had a good relationship with Feng Zhixing. They did not expect that she was his disciple. They were very clear about the strength of the Feng clan in the inner regions. They had a family in the inner regions. If they stomped their feet in the inner regions, the entire inner regions would tremble. And Feng Zhixing was also an influential figure that they knew. He was a junior with a very high position in the Feng family, and he was actually her master. The 10 great villains were shocked by Sima Yue's surprise. The more they knew, the more they admired her. Although her age was only a fraction of theirs. Yue, it's all settled. Bei Gong Tang and the others returned. Fatty Chu was still leading the elders of the Egret clan to clean up the corpses. Just when everyone thought that the matter was completely over, there was suddenly a slight fluctuation in space. Soon a space channel opened and a few people walked out from it. Thank you everyone. Chapter 730. When Yuan Shaojie led his men out, the first thing they saw was the charred corpses strewn all over the ground. The plants and trees were all gone. It was a complete mess. The fact that Fan Lei was still standing there in one piece put their hearts at ease. What happened? Who had the ability to destroy the heart of the dark forest? Old Yuan, what took you so long? When Fan Lei saw Yuan Shaojie, he felt a little resentful. If he had come earlier, this child would not have to use such a method. As soon as I received your message, I rushed over with my men. What happened? Yuan Shaojie was a little surprised. Why was this guy, who was usually cold and arrogant, acting so strange today? Fan Lei briefly recounted what had happened today, shocking Yuan Shaojie and the people behind him. Hundreds of monarch-level experts were all killed? Su Jin was astonished, then he laughed out loud. Ha, not bad as expected of my disciple, so domineering. Master, do you have to be so happy? I've offended hundreds of forces in one go. Sima Yue could not help but mock him when she saw him laughing so happily. What are you afraid of? If there's anything, you still have your masters. Su Jin said disapprovingly. The other two people who came with Yuan Shaojie weren't paying attention to this. When they heard Fan Lei mention the dragon trapping formation, they started to wander around the small island. Then they ran over excitedly and said, "It really is the dragon trapping formation. Who set up this array formation?" Yue set it up, Fan Lei said. If it weren't for this array formation, I'm afraid things wouldn't have ended so easily. If those people hadn't been trapped, they would have left directly and returned after the Thunder Tribulation. Yu and the others would have been in danger. When the two of them heard that it was Yue who had set it up, their expressions changed. They looked surprised, hesitant, and in disbelief. One of them even looked wary. They wanted to say something, but before they could speak, they were interrupted by Su Jin. If you have anything to say it later. My disciple needs to rest. Can't you see that she suffered such serious injuries? These two old fellows shouldn't have any ideas about his disciple. Otherwise he wouldn't be polite to them. Even if their identities were very honorable, he was not an incompetent person. Sima Yue recognized them. They were the two who were guarding the teleportation formation outside the inner yard. Why are they here together? Yuan Shaojie looked around and didn't see Little Seven. He asked, Yue, where's Little Seven? He couldn't have been taken away, right? Dean, don't worry. Little Seven is in a safe place. Sima Yue replied. She didn't elaborate further. All right, let's leave this place. Su Jin said. The place was filled with corpses and it was not a good place to talk. Yuan Shaojie and the others also wanted to know more about what had happened, so they said, then let's go to the nearest city. Sima Yuming stepped forward and carried Sima Yue. Fan Lei went up and picked Little Two up. At this time, Xie Jun came forward with his men and bowed to the crowd. Then he bowed to Sima Yue and said gratefully, thank you for sparing my life today. Sima Yue saw that his attitude was good and smiled. The person who saved your life today is you. I just gave you a chance. If you didn't give us this chance, we wouldn't have made the right choice. Xie Jun said, if you need it in the future, you can take the token and look for me directly. Sima Yuqi took the token. We'll take our leave. Xie Jun bowed to the crowd and left with his men. Although he wanted to ask Yuan Shaojie and the others about the spirit barrier, he knew that now was not the time. They still had a lot of things to deal with. If he disturbed them now, it might be annoying. The other people who were watching the fun also left. This incident had a big impact on them. If they encounter such things in the future, they must not be hot-headed. They must recognize the situation. Otherwise, if they lost their lives, they would lose everything. Yuan Shaojie was about to open the space tunnel when Sima Yue suddenly stopped him. Dean, wait a minute. I have something to deal with. What else do you have to do? Sima Yue looked at the Flamingo King. The Flamingo King hurriedly came to her and said, I didn't know it was the King's contract master. If I offended you, please punish me. The Flamingo King felt Little Rock's aura from behind and rushed over. When he arrived, Sima Yue was already in the dragon trapping array. Well, you have to be punished. Sima Yue said. The Flamingo King felt cold all over. If he was in human form, he would be sweating. Seeing him trembling, she rolled her eyes and said, I haven't said how to punish you. Why are you all trembling? I offended the King's contract master and should be executed. The leader said. Did they think she was going to kill them? Okay, stop trembling. If you continue to tremble, your feathers will fall off. Sima Yue didn't scare them and said, I'm still relatively easy to talk to. You didn't know before, so I don't intend to kill you. In order to take a warning, you have to hand over 20 bird eggs. Just giving 20 bird eggs was enough? The birds were surprised. Why, you don't want to? Or do you want me to take your life? Sima Yue asked in a deep voice when she saw that they didn't respond. No. The Flamingo King said, we will give you the eggs. Go back and get 20 eggs. Although it was distressing, this punishment was really light compared to the extermination of so many clansmen. Sima Yulin and the others didn't expect Sima Yue to still be thinking about their mission at this time. They didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Wouldn't it be better to wait for her to heal and then come back to take a look? What they didn't know was that after this incident, she didn't plan to come to the dark forest again. In this place, she wouldn't come as long as she didn't have to. Killing so many strong people at once, her little heart still couldn't calm down. Soon, the flamingo eggs were sent over. Sima Yue calmly put them away. She didn't say that this was actually the sect's mission. Okay, you can go back. She began to drive them away as soon as she got the things. We will take our leave. The Flamingo King hurriedly flew away with his clansmen, heartbroken at the loss of 20 bird eggs. Let's go too, Sujin said. Yuan Shaojie opened the space tunnel, but before it was fully opened, the tunnel closed again for some reason. What's wrong? Sujin asked. Someone is controlling this space. Yuan Shaojie said. Even you can't open it? Fan Lei's expression changed. The person who came is stronger than me. Yuan Shaojie's face was solemn. Everyone was silent. Who was it that could actually trap all of them in this small world? Chapter 731. The following is the Little Two's true identity, provided for you. Please enjoy. Sima Yue's heart sank. They had already controlled the space before they even arrived. How strong were they? If they were here for Little Two, would they have the ability to stop them? And with her current state, even if she wanted to trigger the lightning tribulation, she wouldn't be able to. But if they couldn't protect Little Two, she didn't dare to think further. If they really couldn't, they could only ask her for help. She just didn't know if she would make it in time. After a while, the space tunnel opened and a few tall people with golden eyes walked out. They glanced at everyone present and many of them knelt down directly. Sima Yue felt her breathing tighten. It was as if a mountain was pressing down on her and she couldn't breathe at all. Even Yuan Shaojie and the rest had some difficulty and lowered their heads slightly. What a strong pressure. When they saw Little Two, the leader waved his hand and Little Two flew from Fan Lei's hand and landed in his arms. Let go of Little Two. Fatty Chu shouted anxiously. Who are you? One of them snorted and Fatty Chu fell to the ground, his bones broken. Fatty. Ouyang Fei and the rest surrounded Fatty Chu in the middle to protect him. However, it was useless for them to do so. Who are you? Fan Lei held back his anger and asked. Who we are is not something you can ask. The one holding Little Two said, this is one of us. We want to take him away. I saved Little Tuesday. He is my brother. You want to take him away, but have you asked for our permission? Sima Yue came down from Sima Yuming's body. Her body was completely unrecognizable. But she still straightened her body and looked at them fearlessly. A little human dares to climb up to my clan. You overestimate yourself. The leader exerted pressure on Sima Yue, wanting to take her life. But the pressure was pushed back by a gentle force. Oh, that person shouted. Although he was injured by his own strength, he was furious. Sima Yue felt a cold and gentle force flowing through her body. She felt much better. Aunt Feng, she called out joyfully. Feng Ruyan's figure came out from Sima Yue's body. Looking at her current appearance, she frowned. How did it end up like this? Feng Ruyan was a little unhappy as she raised her head to look at those people and asked, did they do it? Aunt Feng, it wasn't them. I was the one who triggered the lightning tribulation and was struck by lightning. Sima Yue said. Only a life and death situation can touch me. So, these people want to kill you? Feng Ruyan looked at those people indifferently. Who would have thought that just one look from him would make these arrogant people lower their heads? The leader bowed towards Feng Ruyan and said, Ancestor Feng. We are the descendants of the ancient divine ape. My name is Huabin. These children have the bloodline of our clan. Today we are here to take them away. I didn't mean to make things difficult for these people. Ancient divine ape? Sima Yue was shocked. She had never heard of this when she was in the middle region. She thought that little Tu had the bloodline of the Middle Region's full ape, but it seemed that this was not the case. No, I don't want to go with you. Little Tu woke up. When he heard that they wanted to take him away, he struggled without caring about his injuries. I want to be with Big Brother and Big Sister. I don't want to go with you. Big Brother Yue, I don't want to go. Save me. Sima Yue saw that Little Tu was against it and said, You heard it. Little Tu said that he doesn't want to go with you. You are the descendant of the ancient divine ape. Your bloodline cannot be left outside. If you don't want to return to the clan, even if your bloodline is noble, we can't keep you. The leader said. Big Brother, I don't want to go. If I go, I won't be able to see you again. I will be trapped in a small corner for the rest of my life and will never see the light of day again. Little Tu struggled. Who said that we will trap you for the rest of your life? Huabin slapped Little Tu's head. Thinking of his strength, Sima Yue and the rest were afraid that he would smash Little Tu into pieces. In the end, nothing happened to Little Tuesday. Didn't you say that you want to go back? If you go back, won't you not be able to come out? Little Tu retorted. Letting you go back is to let you acknowledge your ancestors and train you better. It's not like we want to restrict your freedom. Huabin was angered by Little Tu's ability to understand. Then can I come out? Little Tu asked. If you can pass the test, you can come out. Huabin said. Little Tu was silent for a while and said, Big Brother, I will go with them. Little Tu, have you thought it through? Sima Yue looked at him and asked. Big Brother, I want to become stronger. Little Tu said, Today's matter, if it wasn't because I was too weak and attracted so many people's attention, why would there be so many people surrounding and attacking us? If it wasn't because I was weak, why would I need Big Brother to use such a method to protect me? Although those lightning bolts struck your body, every single one of them struck my heart. Every time it was Big Brother who saved me and protected me. I also want to protect Big Brothers. When Sima Yue heard Little Tu's words, her eyes became warm. However, she was still worried and turned to look at Feng Ruyen. Aunt Feng? I have some relations with the ancient ape ancestor and know some things. It's not bad for this child to go back. Feng Ruyen said. Since Feng Ruyen said it was not bad, she was relieved and said to Little Tu, Since you want to go back, then go back. After all, they are your clansmen. However, if you leave, we won't be able to protect you in the future. You have to take care of yourself, understand? And Little Tu nodded. He did not feel too bad because he had made up his mind. As long as he went back, he would come back to find them when he became stronger. Let's go back. Huabin ordered. Little Tu agreed and Sima Yue did not have any objections. Naturally, Feng Ruyen did not have any objections. The few of them bowed to Feng Ruyen and then opened a space tunnel to leave. They originally thought that it would be a fierce battle, but in the end, it was resolved so easily. Those who had not gone far were surprised. However, today's matter gave them enough things to talk about. It was not a wasted trip. It was just that they did not know what species took Little Tu away and who was the person in Sima Yue's body. And Feng, thank you. Sima Yue smiled gratefully at Feng Ruyen. Feng Ruyen looked at Sima Yue. Compared to a few years ago, she had improved a lot. It was beyond her expectations. Your improvement is very fast, but it's not enough. Continue to work hard. In the future, I will not sleep too deeply. After speaking, she returned to Yoyue's sea of consciousness. After Feng Ruyen left, her powerful aura dissipated and Yuan Xiaojie and the rest could finally relax. Thinking that there was such a person in Sima Yoyue's body, everyone looked at her as if they were looking at a monster. I love my academy. Actively cooperate with the special action to combat obscene and pornographic information on the internet. Thank you everyone. Chapter 732. Let's go back. Please search product #book yennet to see the most complete. Sima Yue coughed twice and ignored their stares. Who is that ancestor phoenix? Fan Lei asked directly. Sima Yue shook her head and said, I don't know her identity either. I never asked. Then why did she leave behind a soul imprint? This is no ordinary protection. Because I saved her life before, but I wasn't fully healed, so she wants to save my life. Sima Yue said. Alright, if you're curious, you can ask later. Let's hurry back and treat their injuries. Su Jin said. Master, I'll leave Fatty to you. Sima Yue said. Just take care of yourself. Su Jin harumphed, agreeing to her request. Yuan Xiaojie brought Yue and Fatty back first. The rest of the people went back by themselves. Let's go back too. Tuoba Wuchen said, I really didn't expect her luck to be so good. His luck is better than ours. Feng Zhixing nodded in agreement and said, "That's good. This way the two of them can also—" He didn't finish his sentence. Seeing him like this, Tuoba Wu Qin sighed with heartache. "When she recovers, I want to go back," Feng Zhixing suddenly said. "What? You want to go back?" Tuoba Wu Qin was almost choked to death by his own saliva. His face was full of disbelief. "You haven't gone back since that incident. They sent you so many messages but you ignored them. Why do you want to go back now?" "Because she will go there sooner or later," Feng Zhixing said. Sigh. Tuoba Wu Qin sighed again. "Back then you left that place because of her mother's anger and now you're going back because of her." "It's not entirely because of her," Feng Zhixing said. "Don't you think that what happened today was because we were too weak? Indeed, if it wasn't because we weren't strong enough, how could 100 or 200 forces force us to the point where we could only watch from the side?" Tuoba Wu Qin was also very emotional about today's events. "Going back there can help us cultivate faster. Sai, since you've decided to go back, then I'll go back too. It won't be good if you throw it too far away." Feng Zhixing glanced at Tuoba Wu Qin and said, "The old man will be very happy. Don't talk about him in front of me. I feel stifled whenever I talk about him. Let's go back and check on her." Tuoba Wu Qin sat on the flying beast and left first. The 10 villains also followed them back to Qingqing. However, they did not go to see Sima Yue. Instead, they returned to their previous courtyard. It wasn't that the people from the Sky Heaven School didn't see them, but because Sima Yue said something before she left, they didn't have to fight. She said, "These people are our mission. You old fellows shouldn't fight with us." When Feng Zhixing and the others arrived at Qingqing, a few days had passed since that day. Sima Yue was more or less recovered. Fatty Chu needed more time to reconstruct his bones, so he was still resting in bed. "Master, Uncle Wu Qin." Sima Yue saw Feng Zhixing and Tuoba Wu Qin and obediently bowed. "You're recovering quite quickly." Tuoba Wu Qin saw that Sima Yue was fine and smiled. "Yes, with Master Su here, I'm recovering quite well," Sima Yue said. "We came to find you today to say goodbye," Feng Zhixing said. "Master, are you going back?" "I'm not going back to the clan this time. I'm going to the inner regions," Feng Zhixing said. "Going to the inner regions? Why is Master thinking of going to the inner regions?" Sima Yue was astonished. If he went to the inner regions, wouldn't she not be able to see him for a while? "I'm originally from the inner regions," Feng Zhixing said. "Because of some matters I left the inner regions. Now I've received news that I'm going back." Sima Yue lowered her head in disappointment and said, "Master, you should go. When I'm stronger I'll go and see you." "All right." Feng Zhixing patted her head. "You'll go to the inner regions. I'll wait for you there. However, before you reach the monarch rank you can't go." "Yes." Sima Yue nodded. Tuoba Wu Qin saw the two of them reluctant to part and suddenly felt a little sad. Although he lost to that person back then, his daughter's attachment to him should be able to make up for it. "Master, are my parents also from the inner regions?" Sima Yue asked. "Your father is from the inner regions Sima family. Maybe you'll meet them later." Feng Zhixing said, "Their clothes have the same pattern as your spatial ring." Sima Yue touched her spatial ring. She knew that it had something to do with her family. "Then Master, are the people from my father's family good?" she asked again. If she asked them now, she would know how to get along with them if she met them in the future. "They can be considered good." Feng Zhixing hesitated and said, "However, it's not up to us to decide whether they're good or not. You have to find out for yourself." In the past he thought that they were good, but that incident made him very disappointed in them. However, no matter what he thought, they were still her family. She had to make her own judgment. "I understand." Sima Yue nodded. "I'll see for myself." Based on her understanding of Feng Zhixing, there must be something that hurt him in the past. That was why he gave them such an evaluation. "All right, we have to go. I'll leave some people for you." Feng Zhixing said, "They're all my people. They don't belong to the Feng family. In the future they'll be your people. You can let them do whatever you want. Bring them with you wherever you go. You offended so many powers that day. I'm not at ease when I leave." He blew the whistle. 10 people walked in from outside. Each of them had the strength of a monarch. "Young master." The 10 people bowed to her. "Swear." Feng Zhixing said lightly. However, there was a majesty in his words that couldn't be disobeyed. The 10 people knelt on one knee and put their hands on their chests. They said in unison, "We're willing to follow young master. We'll recognize young master as our master. We'll protect young master and never betray you. As the oath fell, the silver light entered their chests. Before Sima Yue could stop them, they finished swearing. Now she had no choice but to bring them with her. Master. She was a little helpless. She wanted to say that she didn't need these people at all. If he wanted to go back to the inner region, shouldn't he bring more people back? I brought them out from the inner region. These years they've been to many places with me. They're quite knowledgeable. Feng Zhixing said, if you have any questions in the future you can ask them. After speaking he said to the 10 people, you won't regret following her in the future. Zhixing, we should go. Otherwise we won't be able to catch the ship. Tuoba Wuchen urged. Feng Zhixing nodded. He reached out and patted her head before leaving with Tuoba Wuchen. Chapter 733. After Feng Zhixing left, Sima Yue felt a little sad. Please search product %book Net to see the most complete. Update the fastest. She didn't know why, but every time she saw the sadness that Feng Zhixing showed to her from time to time, she felt sorry for him. Mississippi, one of them called out to Sima Yue. Sima Yue regained her senses and said, so what are your names? The 10 of them reported their names, but Sima Yue was distracted and said, since you are master's men, then you should be ranked according to your age. You will be called Feng Yi, Feng Er, Feng San. This isn't a name change, it's just a code name. Understand? Whatever Miss says. A square-faced man said. What's your ranking? Sima Yue asked. I'm the oldest. Feng Yi said. Oh, first wind, what do you guys usually do? Sima Yue asked. I followed young master everywhere, First Wind replied. Sima Yue looked at the conversation that was like squeezing toothpaste and had a headache. However, she couldn't say anything about the people that were given to her by her master and had even sworn an oath to her. She thought about it and said, although master gave you to me, I don't have anything for you to do. Go ahead and do your own things. Miss, we have to protect you. Feng Yi said. We have to stay by young Mrs. side to ensure your safety. Feng Er said. Sima Yue rubbed her brows and said, I'm very safe here. You don't have to keep following me. I know that for people like you, time is precious to you. The 10 guards did not speak, but this did not mean that they agreed with her words, but it was a silent protest. Sima Yue was furious and asked with a sullen face, whose guards are you now? It is the young ladies, answered the 10. Then you won't listen to me? Miss, it's not that we don't want to listen to you. Feng Wu said, that day, us brothers were also there and saw those things. What if someone comes looking for trouble and we're not around? There are so many ifs. I'm here now, not out. Sima Yue said. Seeing that they were still insistent, she said, how about this, one of you can stay by my side at a time. I still have things to do. If you keep following us, I can't do anything. This. The Wind Ones were hesitant, but when they saw Sima Yue's darkening expression, they had no choice but to agree. All right then. Let's do as young Miss says. Feng Er said, but young Miss, one person is too few. Something happens, it will be too late. You have to bring at least 2 people with you. Sima Yue agreed in the end. Hence, when she did not go out in the future, there were 2 more guards by her side. These things should be of some help to your current cultivation. Take them. Sima Yue took out some spirit stones and pills and gave them to First Wind. Young Miss, these things are too precious. You are my people now. You said that I have so many enemies. You have to increase your strength to be able to protect me. Sima Yue said, take these things and stay in my courtyard. I have something to do now. Feng Er and I will follow young Mississippi. You can go find a room. First Wind took the things from Sima Yue and passed them to Third Wind. All right. Sima Yue brought her 2 tails out of her courtyard and turned a few corners to a courtyard not far away. This place was a local residence. Sima Yue did not know how Su Jin and the rest got their hands on it. She had stayed here for so many days and did not see anyone else. She brought First Wind and Second Wind to Fatty Chu's room. For the convenience of treatment, he had placed him in Su Jin's courtyard. She first saw Su Jin chatting with 2 array masters in the courtyard. She went up and bowed to them, then asked, Master, how is Fatty? With me here, you're still worried that he won't get better? Su Jin snorted. I'm not worried that he won't get better. I just want to ask him how much better he is. Sima Yue said. He'll be able to move in 2 days. He's still paralyzed. Su Jin said, since you're here, you can tell him not to move if he wants his body to recover. If he wants to be crippled in the future, then he can move as much as he wants. I'll definitely tell him. Sima Yue smiled and replied. Master, I'll go in and take a look at Fatty first. First Wind and Second Wind also wanted to go in, but she left them outside. After Sima Yue went in, Su Jin looked at First Wind and the rest saying, Big Wei, Little Wei, are they the Feng family's shadow guards? Big Wei and Little Wei, who were the two array masters, looked at the two of them carefully and said, They should be. I say, why aren't you staying in the Feng family? Why are you following my little disciple? Our current master is young Mississippi, First Wind replied faintly. Following my little disciple? Su Jin raised his eyebrows. First Wind nodded. Feng Zhixing is really willing. Su Jin sighed, I never thought that I would have a common disciple with him one day. Your disciple's luck is really not bad. Big Wei said. What, do you really think that my little disciple learned your so-called true teachings? There are many ways to arrange the dragon trapping array. Her method is the simplest but the effect is the best. This method has already been lost in our sect. If she doesn't have it, then how did she get it? Maybe she just happened to learn it. Or maybe Feng Zhixing taught her. Su Jin said, I know that my little disciple's talent is very good. Many people have their eyes on her but don't even think about it. Old Su, you can't be like this. Little Wei said. How am I like this? Su Jin said, Don't think that I don't know your sex style. It's fine if it's others, but my disciple isn't a normal person. If you want to use force, think about the spirit imprint in her body. We don't mean that. Big Wei said. Then what do you mean? Su Jin said, You two can't mean anything. Once the time is up, you two should hurry back to your place. Old Su. My little disciple is still young. If you want to have any ideas on her, wait a few years. Su Jin waved his hand and stopped discussing this matter. When Sima Yue came out, she saw that the atmosphere between Su Jin and them was a bit strange. Finished looking? Su Jin asked. He didn't plan on telling them what happened just now. Finished looking. Sima Yue said, Fatty is recovering very well. Many thanks to Master. You should properly thank me. Su Jin said, In order to treat him, I spent a lot of good things. When we get back, I'll slowly pay you back. Sima Yue smiled, All right. I have something to do with Rainbow. I'll leave first. Go. Su Jin waved at her. Oh right, little Seven should be back soon. Hearing him mention it, Sima Yue realized that she had forgotten about little Seven. Chapter 734. Sima Yue sensed the situation in the spirit pagoda and realized that little Seven had turned into a milky white ball of flesh. It was piled up like a small mountain in the spirit pagoda. There was a thin layer of mist on the outside of the small meatball, making it impossible to see what was going on inside. Is she evolving? Sima Yue was secretly shocked, but her face remained expressionless. She bowed to Su Jin and turned to leave. Since she was evolving, he would not disturb her. She brought Feng 1 and Feng 2 to Rainbow's courtyard. Big brother, you've finally recovered. Rainbow was currently discussing something with Lu Fei. When she saw that Sima Yue had arrived, she ran over happily. Sima Yue pulled Rainbow over. Lu Fei and the old woman stood up and nodded at her. Sima Yue remembered that this old woman used to speak in a high and mighty manner. Now her attitude towards her was quite good. She probably knew Little Rock's identity and had restrained herself. Big brother, these days your master has been protecting you very tightly, not letting us go see you. Rainbow complained. Didn't I come to see you after I recovered? Sima Yue sat down. Lu Fei walked in front of Sima Yue and bowed deeply, saying, Lu Fei has offended you that day, please forgive me, your majesty. Sima Yue called Little Rock out. When Little Rock saw Lu Fei, his face darkened. You, Little Rock, the ignorant are not guilty. Sima Yue interrupted Little Rock. Little Rock glared at Lu Fei. The golden-winged rock's aura pressed down on Lu Fei. Although Lu Fei didn't kneel, blood still flowed from the corner of his mouth. Uncle. Rainbow saw Lu Fei vomit blood and called out worriedly. She looked at Little Rock pleadingly. Little Rock saw that Rainbow was worried and retracted his aura, saying, I'll let you off this time on Rainbow's account. If you dare to offend me again, I won't let you off so easily. Thank you, big brother Little Peng. Rainbow smiled gratefully at Little Peng. I haven't had the chance to take a good look at Rainbow. It's only been a few years and you've already grown so big. Little Rock stepped forward and patted Rainbow's head. He smiled and said, Rainbow, we haven't seen each other in so many years. Did you miss us? I do, I really do. Rainbow said. Do you miss us or Chongming? Sima Yue asked with a smile. Big brother, you're making fun of me. Rainbow's face turned red as she said shyly, Chongming, your wife is here. Come out and catch up with her. Sima Yue smiled and called Chongming out. After these days of recuperation, his injuries had recovered a lot. Chongming was also very happy to see Rainbow. That day he personally sent her to the Tao clan. At that time she was still a little chick. He had watched her birth, lived with her for so long and sent her away personally. After being separated for so many years, he really missed her. But it wasn't like what Yue thought. Chongming Gij. Rainbow came in front of Chongming and felt that his breathing was unstable. She cried out in shock, Chongming Gij, you're injured? That day we were surrounded by so many people. I used the dragon trapping array to trap them all. When I was setting up the array I had Chongming by me some time. Sima Yue said, Chongming used the spatial distortion technique, but because of that, he injured his body. Big brother Chongming, how are you now? Rainbow asked worriedly. I'm fine now. Chongming said. Really? Rainbow didn't believe him. Of course it's true. Chongming didn't want to talk about his injuries, so he changed the topic. How have you been in the Tao clan all these years? I'm very good. Uncle treats me very well too. Rainbow said, and because of me, Uncle ended up like this. It's all my fault. If not for me, Uncle wouldn't have been contracted by others. Little Kai, I already said that I was careless. I don't blame you. Don't blame yourself. Lu Fei said. That's right, Lei Feng. This matter isn't your fault. Grandmother Zhu also consoled. But Uncle ended up like this because he wanted to find medicine for me. How can you not blame me? Rainbow said sadly. Before she went back, Uncle was so prestigious in the Phoenix clan. But now he didn't dare to see those people from the past. Is that person all right? Sima Yue asked. He's not dead yet. Rainbow said. For Lu Fei's little life they couldn't let him die. AI, as Rainbow's brother and Little Rock's contracted master, I can help you think of a way to break the contract. Sima Yue said, but the process will be very painful. You will also be injured. It will probably take 1 or 2 years to recover. Are you willing? Is there really such a way? Rainbow's eyes shone. If there really was a way to break the contract, then Uncle wouldn't have to look at those people's faces anymore. If I say there is, then there is. Did you forget that I am a very powerful beast tamer? Sima Yue said. That's right. Brother is a beast tamer. Since you know how to tame beasts, then you should know how to break the contract. Rainbow said, Uncle, what do you think? When Lu Fei heard Sima Yue say that she had a way, he didn't believe it. But when he heard that she was a beast tamer, his eyes lit up with hope. No matter how painful it is, I can endure it. He clenched his fist and said, if it wasn't for little Kai, I would have killed myself long ago. A person who isn't even afraid of death, why would he be afraid of pain? Brother, what method do you have? Rainbow asked. Reverse the Imperial Beast art. Force the contract runes out of the contract and forcefully break the contract. Sima Yue said. That's it? Although it sounds simple, but it goes against the heavens. The process is obvious. Sima Yue said, but I believe in your and clan's perseverance. I believe in myself too. And said. How is your contractor's body now? Sima Yue asked. We locked him up in the house after he came back. His condition shouldn't be good. Grandmother Zhu said. I'll go take a look. For this to happen, his body must be in good condition. If it's too bad, he won't be able to endure the process and will die. You will die too. Sima Yue said. When Rainbow heard this, she hurriedly brought Sima Yue to the house next door. That person was still lying on the bed. Sima Yue glanced at Rainbow. Rainbow stuck out her tongue embarrassedly and explained, I was angry at him for treating Uncle like that. So every time he recovers, I can't help but beat him up. Every time he recovers, he would beat him up and give him pills. When he recovers, he would beat him up again. That was why he ended up like this. Sima Yue went to check his pulse and shook her head. He can't be like this. He needs to be nursed back to health. I'll give him 2 pills. He should recover in 2 days. When the time comes, don't beat him up again. Chapter 735. 2 days later, Sima Yue came to Rainbow's courtyard again. Brother, I didn't beat him up this time. He's fine now. Rainbow giggled. You can kill him after the contract is broken, Sima Yue said affectionately. And that's what I'm planning to do. Rainbow said, he actually used such a despicable method to contract my uncle, I definitely can't let him off. I want to use its blood to wash away my uncle's shame. You can do whatever you want. Sima Yue said. Lu Fei and Grandmother Zhu bowed to Sima Yue when they saw her. Are you ready? Sima Yue asked Lu Fei. I'm ready. Lu Fei nodded. Then let's begin. Go out and don't let anyone disturb us, Sima Yue ordered. Rainbow and the rest did not dare to disobey. They all went out and stood guard outside the door. Sima Yue set up a spirit barrier to seal off the entire house. This way ordinary movements would not disturb them. You sit opposite him. Lu Fei walked over and sat down in front of the man. He looked at the man who was in a daze after taking Sima Yue's medicine. Sima Yue sat beside them and said, Let me tell you again. The process will be very painful. You have to hold on or else both of you will die. Lu Fei nodded. She took out 2 more pills and said, Keep these in your mouth. If you can't take it anymore, take one. Lu Fei took the pill and put it in his mouth. Sima Yue grabbed both of their hands and started to activate the taming beast art. However, this time it was the other way around. Lu Fei felt a ferocious aura entering his body, tearing his insides apart. Then the aura entered his brain, making him feel as if his head was about to explode. The pain was unbearable. Outside the room, Rainbow and Grandma Zhu were anxiously waiting. They felt that every minute was unbearable. Chongming Gij, can Gij do it? Kaihong grabbed Chongming's hand, trying to find support in her heart. Chongming felt that Kaihong had been led astray by them. According to seniority, she should call him uncle, but she always called him brother. 2 days ago he had tried to correct her. In the end, Rainbow had directly said, If you don't let me call you brother, then I'll call you hubby. Even at his age he still blushed. Don't worry, Yu has never done anything she isn't confident in. If she says she can, then there's no problem, he comforted her. I also know Big Brother's personality, but in my heart, I also feel that to dissolve the contract is to go against the will of the heavens. How can it be so easy? Whether it's uncle or brother, I don't want anything to happen to them. Rainbow said. Don't worry. Chongming lowered his head and glanced at her hand that was grabbing him. He sighed in his heart. He didn't know whether to pull away or not. Feng Yi and Feng Er were listening to their conversation from behind. There was only one thought in their minds. This master was indeed not an ordinary person. She even dared to do something that defied the heavens. Such a domineering child. Perhaps if they followed her, they would really see a different world. Time passed by minute by minute. After half a day there was still no movement inside. Rainbow and the others were waiting anxiously outside. Suddenly, a burst of light came from the house. Following that, dark clouds quickly gathered in the sky and locked onto their house. Tribulation cloud. Everyone in the courtyard was alarmed. Su Jin and the others flew into the sky and saw a small dark cloud hovering above the roof. Although the range wasn't very large, it contained a terrifying power. Because it wasn't a lightning tribulation, the tribulation cloud didn't lock onto anyone else. It was just above Sima Yue and the others. What's going on? Yuan Xiaojie flew over and asked. Rainbow and the others didn't think that they would attract such a terrifying lightning tribulation. They were stunned for a moment. Hearing Yuan Xiaojie and the others' words, they came back to their senses and replied, Big Brother is dissolving the contract for Uncle. Dissolving the contract. Those old fellows all cried out. This contract can be dispelled? Isn't this going against the will of the heavens? De Wei cried out. That's why this appeared. Su Jin looked at the tribulation cloud and said, Lightning tribulation of the heavens. This was much more powerful than the average lightning tribulation. Once this contract is established, the heavens and earth cannot go against it. How can he dispel the contract? Little Wei asked. Big Brother is a beast tamer master. He said that by going against the will of the beast taming method, he can dispel the contract. Rainbow said. He's a beast tamer master? Everyone present cried out. Each and every one of them had a face full of shock. The 10 great villains who had just rushed over after hearing the commotion almost fell from the sky. This guy was a beast tamer master? Did he have to be so scary? How many secrets did this guy have? They really wanted to dig them all out for him so that he wouldn't scare them from time to time. Alchemist, Array Master, Beast Tamer Master, Doctor, Divine Devil Valley's Junior Valley Master, Su Jin's disciple, Feng Clan's young master's disciple. His relationship with the Tuoba clan wasn't shallow. He had a mind all by himself. Rainbow saw that they were so shocked. Only then did he know that they didn't know Yoyue's identity as a Beast Tamer Master. If he said that, it would expose her identity. The old fellows of the Sky Heaven School were silent after their shock. Such a genius student didn't show off. Instead, she had been hiding. It had been a long time since they met such a student in the school. Since they met her, no matter what, they had to ensure her safety. Sima Yue felt the situation outside. She also knew that the lightning tribulation was eyeing them covetously. However, she didn't panic. She passed a message to Chongming and continued. Chongming received Sima Yue's instructions. He went forward and said to Big Wei and Little Wei, "You would like to invite the two masters to set up more than one lightning defense array. She needs some time." Big Wei and Little Wei looked at each other and nodded, "Okay." The two of them took out the array stones and observed the situation of the house. At the same time they struck the array stones down. The array was activated. Sima Yue felt that the aura of the tribulation cloud had weakened. She was relieved. Today's matter was due to her negligence. She didn't consider the lightning tribulation because she didn't prepare in advance. However, it wasn't as if there was no solution. She just had to move the person into the spirit pagoda the moment the lightning tribulation fell. But now that there was someone helping her, she could avoid this. She used the taming beast art to find the contract symbol. She wrapped it up and cut off the connection between it and Lu Fei. Then she guided it bit by bit towards Lu Fei's body. They had been in a deadlock for a long time. The contract symbol no longer had any resistance and obediently followed her outside. Silver light overflowed from Lu Fei's brain. It became brighter and brighter. Then the contract symbol slowly moved out from between his eyebrows. Pa dash! The lightning tribulation struck the spell formation as soon as the runes moved outwards, scaring everyone in Qingchen. Chapter 145. After settling the family matters, Sima Yue went to school. She had not graduated yet, and the principal knew that he had given her some time off. Seeing that the Sima family was on the right track, she went back to continue her studies. In fact, for the current her, there wasn't much she could learn here, but she didn't want to give up halfway. The Sima family also needed her attention, so she didn't plan to leave for the time being. When he returned to the dormitory, Wei Ziqi and the others had already gone to class. There was not a single person in the dormitory. Thinking back to the last time he was here, he was still a young master who did not need to consider anything. The next time he was here, he had already become the head of the family. I'm sure no one has ever seen the head of the household come to school. After tidying up the house, it was already noon. Remembering that she hadn't eaten for a long time, she also wanted to thank everyone for their concern and help during this period of time, so she went to the kitchen to cook a few dishes. I knew it. Just by smelling this fragrance, I knew that Yue had returned. Fatty Chu's voice could be heard even before he arrived. His nose had always been very sensitive when it came to food. The four of them went to the kitchen and saw Sima Yue sitting at the table waiting for them. They walked over and sat down to eat. "Have you settled the matter?" Wei Ziqi asked. "Everything is almost on track. The rest will need to be done slowly." Sima Yue said that the most important thing now was to tame the hundreds of spirit beasts. However, the spirit beasts had not arrived yet, so she did not have to rush. The speed at which your house was being built really blinded our eyes. We haven't gone out for a few days, and when we went out yesterday, we discovered that your house had already been built. Fatty Chu picked up a piece of meat and placed it in his mouth as he spoke. "Let's not talk about you guys. Even I was shocked." Sima Yue said, "I went into seclusion for a few days. When I came out, I saw that the flat ground had turned into a courtyard. It was horrifying. I didn't know that houses could be repaired so quickly. I heard that it was because there were many people working together, that's why it was so fast." Wei Ziqi said, "This is also good. You've recruited so many new people, so you need a place to make arrangements." "Yes." Sima Yue nodded and asked, "How have you been?" "The academy is pretty much the same as before, but now when we walk in the academy, we often meet some girls who come looking for us. Extremely annoying." Wei Ziqi said. "What?" Sima Yue blinked. "Could it be that both of you are in love? Did someone confess to you? It's not that our peach blossoms have blossomed, it's your peach blossoms that have blossomed." No one has ever dared to shout at a tribulation cloud, no one has ever dared to go inside a tribulation cloud. Sima Yue flew into the tribulation cloud and saw that there were electric currents flowing everywhere, making sizzling sounds. "Human, how dare you come here?" The cloud spirit cursed, but its soft voice didn't have the slightest lethality. "Little tribulation cloud, where are you?" Sima Yue called out softly. She really looked like a wolf trying to coax a child. "I'm going to hack you to death." The little tribulation cloud didn't come out and said angrily. Two huge lightning bolts struck towards Sima Yue. Other than her body feeling numb, she didn't feel anything else. Seems like my defense against lightning has increased after I was struck last time. Sima Yue thought proudly. The top-grade purple heavenly lightning in the lightning pool rolled its eyes. That was because it had become stronger. Otherwise, she would have been struck to death by such a terrifying heaven-defying lightning tribulation. Little tribulation cloud, we've met so many times and can be considered old friends. Come out and meet me. I have something nice to eat. Sima Yue didn't know what the top-grade purple heavenly lightning was thinking and continued to entice it. I'm not going to eat. A transparent palm-sized rabbit appeared on the tribulation cloud. It looked at Sima Yue with its red eyes and complained. Why was she so pitiful? No matter what, it couldn't hack her to death. Sima Yue didn't expect the cloud spirit of the tribulation cloud to look like this. How was this the lightning tribulation that controlled the heavenly punishment? It should be Meng Meng's pet. Little tribulation cloud, it's useless for you to look at me like this. Your lightning is useless against me. She giggled. It's not useless against you. If it wasn't for the top-grade purple heavenly lightning in your body, you would have been struck to death by me. I didn't expect it to grow so fast. Even the heaven-defying lightning tribulation can't do anything to it. The cloud spirit snorted. Even the top-grade purple heavenly lightning can grow? Sima Yue was a little surprised. Of course it can. Otherwise, how could you become more and more immune to lightning? The cloud spirit said. Then is it like you? Sima Yue asked. It's not as cute as me. The cloud spirit said narcissistically. I'm the cutest lightning tribulation. Sima Yue closed her eyes and sensed for a while. Indeed, she saw a small figure swimming in the lightning pool. The figure didn't seem to have taken shape yet. It was just a blurry shadow. That shadow felt Sima Yue's gaze and made a strange face at her. It seemed to be despising her for not realizing that it had been in her body for so long. Sima Yue felt that this fellow should be making a face at her, although she didn't have a face yet. Thinking about the process of her obtaining her own lightning, she asked the cloud spirit doubtfully, Isn't this top-grade purple heavenly lightning yours? How did it take shape on its own? How can the top-grade purple heavenly lightning be mine? If it was mine, I would have swallowed it. The cloud spirit was a little disappointed. I've used the top-grade purple heavenly lightning before, but no one survived. I guess it's because you didn't die and absorbed it that this fellow took shape. There should be a lot of people in charge of the tribulation cloud, right? Sima Yue suddenly asked. There aren't many. Anyway, this area is my territory. If anyone dares to disrespect me, I'll strike them to death. The cloud spirit said. Suddenly, it thought of the person in front of it. It didn't die even after striking her so many times. It was very discouraged. Sima Yue looked at it and smiled. It's good that you didn't strike me to death. Look, you didn't strike me to death. Didn't I discover your existence? We can be friends in the future. I don't want to be friends with you. The cloud spirit snorted. If it became friends with a person who couldn't be struck to death, how could it survive in the future? If you don't want to be friends with me, then I'll be friends with you. Sima Yue said. Since we're friends, then I have to treat you to good food. What do you think? What do you like? She took out a bunch of things and put them on the tribulation cloud. They didn't fall down. The cloud spirit was very disdainful at first, but those things were very fragrant. Especially one kind of fragrance made it drool. She looked at those things arrogantly, then turned her head to the side and said, What are these? I won't eat your things. Sima Yue saw that although she said no, her small eyes kept glancing at the wine jar. She secretly laughed. Chapter 737. She unsealed the wine jar, and an even richer fragrance wafted out. The little tribulation cloud tried to resist, but it still couldn't resist the temptation. It ran over, hugged the wine jar, and took a deep breath before asking, What is this? What? The small tribulation cloud exclaimed and threw the wine jug away. The wine jug landed on the black cloud and the wine spilled out. An even richer fragrance floated out. No, I don't want this. Take it away. Sima Yue looked at its agitated face. It was fine before, why did it have such a big reaction all of a sudden? You don't like this? She asked curiously. I don't like it, I don't like it. This thing can't be touched. The little tribulation cloud said. What? Last time there was an older brother who got some wine from somewhere and ended up getting drunk. He fainted for 3 years and was punished for delaying matters. In the end, he vanished into thin air. The little tribulation cloud continuously bit its head. What? There was actually such a thing? Sima Yue's mouth was slightly agape in shock. She saw that the little calamity cloud was avoiding it like a snake, but its eyes were filled with reluctance. She said, "This is fruit wine, it's not intoxicating. If you're really afraid of getting drunk, you can take one of these pills first. Then you won't get drunk at all." "What kind of pill is this?" The minor tribulation cloud had seen many pills before, but it had never seen anything like this. "This is a pill specially prepared for people who drink alcohol to sober up. As long as you eat this before drinking, you won't get drunk no matter how much you drink," Sima Yue explained. "Really?" The little tribulation cloud didn't believe it. "If I lie to you, you can strike me every day," Sima Yue said. She had concocted this pill for Third Mo so that he could enjoy other fine wines without getting drunk. The small tribulation cloud tried to endure it, but it couldn't resist the fragrance of the wine, so it slowly moved closer. Sima Yue fed it a pill, and the little calamity cloud swallowed it. Then it tried to take a sip of wine. When it didn't feel any discomfort, it happily hugged the wine jar and drank. "What do you think? I didn't lie to you, right?" Sima Yue took out a jar of wine. And then, little calamity cloud nodded happily. Its dissatisfaction with Sima Yue had been resolved by this fine wine. Soon it finished the jar of wine. Perhaps it was because the alcohol content was too low or because it had eaten the pill, but it didn't have any reaction at all. "It's delicious. Do you have more?" The little tribulation cloud hugged the empty wine jar and looked at her. "Yes." Sima Yue took out another jar for it and it finished it in no time. The more she drank, the more excited she became. After drinking 4 jars in a row, Sima Yue did not give her any more. "Is there more? I haven't had enough yet," the little tribulation cloud urged. "Little calamity cloud, do you know that to us humans this wine is not to be drunk casually?" Sima Yue said solemnly. "Then how can I drink it?" the little tribulation cloud asked. "We use this wine to entertain our friends." Sima Yue said, "You wanted to strike me before. You big baddie. You used wine to threaten me." Although the little tribulation cloud was innocent, it wasn't stupid. The moment Sima Yue said that, it immediately reacted. "That's right. I was threatening you." Sima Yue did not deny it. "Then will you accept my threat?" "I'm a very unyielding tribulation cloud. I won't accept your threat." The little tribulation cloud turned its little head to the side and did not look at her. "Really?" "Of course," the little tribulation cloud said with certainty. "All right then." Sima Yue kept the jar of wine that she had just taken out, saying, "Since you're such an unyielding tribulation cloud, then you definitely don't want to drink this wine. Sigh, I'll go back down and wait for you to strike me before leaving." With that, she stood up and looked like she was about to leave. "Oh, why you baddie? Big baddie?" The little tribulation cloud immediately jumped up and rushed into Sima Yue's embrace. Instantly, several lightning bolts struck over. After the little tribulation cloud snatched the jar of wine, it continued to shout, "You're too bad. Too bad. Baddie." Sima Yue stood on top of the tribulation cloud. The jar of wine in her embrace had been snatched away and her body was numb from the lightning bolts. That little fellow was still there calling her a baddie. She suddenly wanted to ask who exactly was the baddie. After the little tribulation cloud finished the jar of wine, the numb feeling finally passed. She moved her body and said, "If you strike me to death, you won't be able to drink this wine anymore." The little tribulation cloud narrowed its eyes and thought for a moment. It seemed like it had struck her a little too hard just now. However, she had the top-grade purple lightning in her body. It couldn't strike her to death. At most, it could only strike her until she was half crippled. "If you give me the wine and the pill to sober me up, I won't strike you today. Otherwise, I'll strike you with a few more lightning bolts." When Sima Yue heard this, she couldn't help but laugh. Wasn't she the one who was luring it? Why was it the other way around? However, no matter who was threatening who or lying to who, the result was the same. She gave it the wine so it wouldn't strike her. Sima Yue took out several jars of fruit wine. The little tribulation cloud shook its short tail and the tribulation cloud wrapped up all the wine. "I can let you off today, but don't call me next time." The little tribulation cloud said, "It's not that I'm scolding you, but can't you stop for a bit? You're the person I've struck the most times. You're also the person I struck the most. If not for the top-grade purple lightning, who knows how many times you'd have died." "I didn't want to either," Sima Yue said. No matter which time it was, she wasn't the one who wanted to be struck. Wasn't there always a reason for it? "Haha, the next time I see you, even if there's so much wine, I won't go easy on you." The little tribulation cloud once again became that stubborn little tribulation cloud. We're already friends. Friends should help each other, understand? Sima Yue said. Ah. The little tribulation cloud snorted twice. It didn't confirm or deny. Alright, I'm going back. Don't strike me again. I've been feeling a little scared when I see you recently. Sima Yue said. I don't want to see you either. The little tribulation cloud said, although the two of us are doing that now, I can't completely go easy on you. The lightning bolts at the back still have to strike, but I can control it to make it less powerful. Sima Yue thought that it wasn't a bad idea. She nodded her head and flew down. When she returned to the roof, the tribulation cloud struck a few more times. Then it patted its butt and left. As for those few strikes, other than eating the top-grade purple lightning in the lightning pool as snacks, it didn't do much harm to her. Yue, what did you do in the tribulation cloud? Isn't the lightning tribulation getting stronger the further it goes? Why do I feel that the last few strikes aren't as strong as the first? Fatty Chu asked what everyone was thinking. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.